Did you guys see who the Miami Heat drafted?
No.
Uh, who is he?
I don't know too much about him, but Mark, his name is Nikola Jovic
Right.
instead of
Not
Jokic.
not Jokic.
Jovic.
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 Are they going to stash him? Or do they think he's going to be on their roster this year?
I mean, 6'10", 225, power forward. I don't know.
I mean,
what does that have to do with the question he asked?
I mean, I don't know. Did they say, like, because I didn't stay up for the Heat.
I just don't know how much his value is.
Because, sometimes they draft guys like that and they literally say to them, stay overseas for another year. We don't have the roster spot.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Friday. Oh, the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this final Friday of the month? How about that? 64 days away from Nebraska, Northwestern, and Dublin. If that'll get your juices flowing to kick off the college football season. Otherwise, 69 and 76 are the magic numbers. 10 weeks from yesterday, the backyard brawl, Pitt and West Virginia to kick off the college football season. 11 weeks from last night, Bills and Rams, 76 days away to kick off the NFL season. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, David. Post NBA draft day. Always an exciting time, and I know both of our households. I was 74 trades just between picks 26 and 28.
Listen, we are not two people to complain just to complain, even though we have the forum in which it could lead to that. But the NBA gets a lot right. I don't think they get their draft right. There are times in which we say the NFL should actually copy what some other sports will do, and they don't do it out of pride. I don't know how the NBA can watch the NFL draft and not go, we should do what they do. The fact that they don't announce the trades, I think it's awful. Imagine your son, and you get to that moment and they get drafted. And then they walk up and you pick up the hat and you walk onto the stage and you pose with the commissioner. And then apparently everybody in the building finds out as you're doing that you in that hat's ridiculous. You're not a part of that team. You're getting traded to Charlotte. Well, then announce the trade.
Makes zero sense. It's a bad look. The kid's got the hat on for one picture. He sits down with the interviewer and get rid of the hat. You're not on that team anymore.
Well, right. And so now your picture with the commissioner, you can't have it for posterity, right? I mean, you're wearing the San Antonio hat when you're a Charlotte Hornet.
Wolf, right.
Right. I mean, so plus also it's very confusing for us. I mean, I'm trying really hard to pay attention. And I'm like, wait a minute. So this guy's going where? He's not a Knick. He's going to Memphis. Oh, no, the player's from Memphis. Where's he going? Detroit? No. Charlotte? Oh, no, he's going to Detroit. No, tell us.
And we all know the NFL draft, Raj gets up there and says we have a trade.
Thank you. And then you let the network tell us, well, it's for a first and a third and blah, blah, blah. And now so-and-so's on the clock and they're going to make the selection. And then he goes, and the Charlotte Hornets select Ty Washington from Kentucky. And Ty comes up and you put the right hat on the kid and he poses with the commissioner. I don't know how they could watch the NFL draft and not go, that's a better product than ours. We should do what they do. The NFL draft is not confusing.
It's a lot of things, David.
Right.
It's not confusing.
And I'm torn between, is 5 minutes perfect or is it not enough time?
It's not enough time.
And I know you got 30 picks and, times 5. And so it's 150 minutes. So there's 2.5 hours and the thing starts at 8. And, you take a few minutes at the top before you actually get the thing going, and they want to wrap the sucker up by 11. So, we talk all the time about fitting things in a window and how soccer and hockey, their pace of play is really good. 2 hours, 2.5. And we complain about the other events that take 3.5, 4 hours. But I will say there is no time to discuss much of anything.
Well, they were in the middle of, discussions a lot of the time, and they got to run to a pick, and they never finish really what their point is. And every once in a while, they're having an interesting discussion.
I mean, it's tough to set up what it is the team needs, tough to discuss a trade that's either being bantied about or what have you. There's no time now for interviews. I mean, they were trying to interview Paulo last night with his mom next to him. They couldn't ask mom anything. They asked Paulo 2 questions, and they literally said, hey, sorry, Mom, we got to go. And there was Adam Silver at the podium announcing the second pick. So I love the draft. I'm going to watch. I mean, and by the way, over-under in the trades, holy.
Should have been 11.5.
I mean, just in the 20s alone, there was like 5 deals. But I'm always going to watch. I do find it to be hectic and confusing. However.
Well, that part is for sure, because they're not only trading first-round picks, they're trading players, they're trading second-round picks, they're selling second-round picks.
Right. Like, I happen to be a Knicks fan. So the Knicks are on the clock at 11. And the Knicks draft this kid from France. Well, there's not a Knicks fan who wasn't going, what the? Because, we've been reading up who the Knicks are looking at. We know what their needs are, this, that, and the other thing. When they drafted this kid, I thought to myself, there's no way this kid plays for the Knicks. There's no way. It's not what they're looking for. They got 4 guys just like them. What the heck is going on here? Either the people running the Knicks are, just had a stroke, or something's going on. Well, that wouldn't happen with the NFL draft. They would come up and they would say, we have a trade. And they would announce.
And so-and-so's now on the clock.
And then Detroit, I think it was, right? Is that where? No, Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City, and then we'd find out what the trade was. That was the other thing. I watching for an hour. They can't tell me what the Knicks got in the trade. What do you mean you don't know what they got in the trade? I mean, hello? I mean, you're paying the NBA how much money for the rights to televise their product? I mean, they're paying them like $600-700 million a year. Hi, here's the deal. The draft. Yeah, you're going to tell us what the damn trade is. I mean, you have to know what the trade is. You approve the damn trade. I mean, we need to tell everybody what the trade is. I watched for another hour, sitting there the whole time going, well, they're getting future draft picks. I have no idea what they are. And so I'm steaming for an hour. I'm like, what did they just trade some guy to Oklahoma City for like vegetables? What?
God, I'd love a live cam on you trying to figure this out.
Well, now, granted, I may not be the average viewer.
It doesn't matter. It's why I want the live camera on you during these trades. Like the fact that you got upset.
I mean, Felipe, you're an NBA guy. Do you like the product that they put forth on the draft? Did you understand it? Did you know what was going on? Am I just getting old?
I was snoozing a little bit. I woke up at like midnight because I had already gone to sleep. I woke up again at midnight because I remembered my phone was on, and my phone was still playing the draft, and Perk was still there on set, like, looking half asleep like a corpse. Well, you know, the 54th pick, we're here, and the Thunder, they need this position.
All right.
I was like, Perk, I'm with you, man. Perk, I just want to go to sleep.
Oh.
But here's the funny thing, and I don't mean to sound really naive here, but as you watch this, and we have ESPN on the background, it still says on the ticker, proposed trade.
Yeah, right. Proposed trade.
So you said the trades have to be approved. I should know better, but are they?
Well, yeah.
Or do they send them all in and they approve them today?
Well, they have to be, because in theory, you're calling me up saying, listen, pick so-and-so at 25 and we're going to give you blank. Well, okay, so I pick him. I don't want him. I'm picking him for you because we've agreed on the compensation. You can't then turn around and go, come to think of it, we're not interested.
No, I'm not saying the teams. I'm saying the league.
Well, they have to approve it because the teams wouldn't be going forth and doing them.
But that confuses me because I've still got proposed trade sitting on 47 trades that are on the board.
It's absurd. I mean, come on now. Watch the NFL.
And they've always done this. They've always drafted for other teams, and it's a bad look.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally, like with Eli Manning, the Chargers took him first overall. He didn't want to go. In theory, they would have worked that deal out before the Chargers drafted him. And sure enough, Eli had to go up there, and he's got his pictures with the Chargers hat. Now, I don't know, if they brought him back out after they made the deal with the Giants about an hour or so later, and whether or not he came back out and got a picture with the Giants hat on or not. But for the most part, they consummate the deal, and then Goodell announces it. That's all. I mean, if you want people to watch your draft, I think they need to be able to understand it.
Fair enough.
I mean, especially since we don't know who half these players are. Could you help us out? What'd you think of Paulo's suit, by the way? Purple.
Look, and I'm all for purple at any time. It was
what were they?
Whatever was attached to it was what I'm trying to figure out.
Rhinestones or whatever.
Is that what they were? Look like Christmas ornaments. I didn't know. I mean, man.
Thought you plugged that in.
I mean, I wish everybody listening saw the suit, because this way we could ask a question whether you liked it or not. Like, apparently on set, they loved it. I looked at it and went, oh, snap. That might make me not draft him. I mean, look at that thing.
Well, he's from Seattle, and he said that the reason why he wore purple was because he was supposed to go to the University of Washington, but chose Duke instead.
Well, that's a good consolation prize for UW there.
I was going to say, Mike Hopkins will be real happy that, at least he wore a
purple suit.
Right.
Oh, man. So that was the big story in the sports world last night, the NBA draft, and there were about 15 trades, and virtually none of them were announced. So good luck going online, reading about them and trying to figure them out. And the Knicks made like 3-4 trades, traded away a bunch of draft picks, and yet managed to accumulate more and didn't draft anybody till the second round. That franchise in and of itself is something.
I had some obligations last night, so I did not see the early picks. By the time I got home with everything, it was after 9:00, and I threw the draft on, and we're in picks in the teens and 20s. And somewhere around pick 23, 24, Stephen A. just had, and Stephen A., I know not everybody loves him, and I don't necessarily love him, but he had an out-of-body experience. He was so upset that the Knicks didn't take anybody in the first round that he was crying like a baby on the air. It was vintage. It was as good as I've ever seen him.
He and Spike Lee did like a prayer on air for the Knicks franchise. I think it's too late, gentlemen. I think it's too late. Miller and Moulton. Happy Friday. Thanks for ending your week with us on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit, featuring band attachments to your feet and hips. Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Paul, I thought Cooper was classy afterwards as well, considering, what had just happened and how deep down crushed and upset he was. Some people had a problem with it, but let's face it, we have a problem with everything these days. Warren, as far as the Knicks go, what if I tell you that the Knicks end up coming out of this draft by clearing a bunch of salary cap room and able to sign Brunson from the Mavs? That's basically the decision they made last night. Apparently they wanted Jordan Ivey. And when they couldn't get him, and apparently they tried really hard, and they offered Detroit like 4 first-round draft picks. Only one of them a lottery pick, though. And Detroit said no. So they said, well, since we can't get Ivy, we need a point guard. We're going to go sign Brunson from the Mavs. But we have to open up cap room to do it. Right now, with the trade they made with Kemba, they have $18 million in cap room. They probably have to trade one more guy. And there's talk that they may send Fournier back to the Celtics, which I'm all for. And believe it or not, Boston needs them because they have no bench. It was remarkable when they did. So the first overall pick 40 years ago was Worthy. 35 years ago was David Robinson. 30 years ago was Shaq. 25 years ago was Duncan. "20 years ago it was Yao Ming. And then 10 years ago, who was it 10 years ago?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Final Friday of June, just like that. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 69 days away from the start of the college football season in earnest. 76 days away from kickoff of the NFL season. If Nebraska, Northwestern, and Ireland's enough for you, that's 9 weeks from tomorrow, 64 days away. Just to scratch that itch. Final weekend of June, time's moving along just like that. I mean, you and I are already trying to get our hands on our Phil Steele magazines.
Boy, should be getting those in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I know he went to publication. I know we're on the first print.
Yep. He's got our money. We're ready. We always like to have it. We used to take early July vacations, and we
will again one day.
Right, because either we won't be doing this at all and we'll have time off,
or we'll be taking time off next year.
Right. We do have a contract negotiation coming up.
Not much of a negotiation.
No, but we do need some time off in July or August. That I feel pretty good we can get. We are working a lot of days this year. But we used to be so happy because we used to both go on vacation. Talk about a couple of goobers. Couple of middle-aged married guys. It was
the key to vacation. Has the Phil Steele book shown up yet?
Right. I at least, had more of an excuse, come to think of it. I was a middle-aged married guy. When we first started doing it, you weren't married yet. You were single, and you were going on your vacation with your Phil Steele.
Special kind of bond I have with Phil. It's one that can't be broken up by many things. And
right.
Women, sure.
I had to explain to your wife when you were dating her, listen, there's a few people in my life that you just need to understand. One of them's Phil Steele.
And he's important to
me. Game 5 tonight in the Battle of Lord Stanley's Cup.
Does the NHL season conclude tonight?
It's expected to. The Avs are favored in the game, favored in the series. They were favored in the series. You and I both went with the Lightning. We thought Tampa would get a split in Denver. Obviously, they didn't. We thought it would be 1-1, 2-2. We needed one overtime goal to be 2-2. This would be a very different series. But you mentioned it yesterday, 80 years since a team has come from 3-1 down in the finals to win the Stanley Cup. The 42 Leafs did it to the Wings. They were actually down 3-0 in that series. They were the first NHL team to come back from 3-0.
And I get that it's a lot harder this route, having to play 5 and 7 on the road if you're Tampa.
Right.
But if you can get 5, you come back home. And then you have the opportunity at home to force the Game 7, put all the pressure on the Lanch. But you've got to get tonight. And to me, Tampa's going to have to do in Game 5 what they did in Game 4. And that's play a perfect first period. They just can't come up with only one goal.
Well, there's no doubt because they gave up 3 goals in both first periods in Denver already in this series. So they need to have a really good first period. And you figure the Avs are going to be, jacked beyond belief, the whole deal. I've got a couple of examples. They're not recent, but at least they're modern. 87, Edmonton's a dynasty. They won the 84 Cup. They won the 85 Cup. They're up 3-1 in the finals in 87. Gretzky hasn't been traded yet. So they got everybody. And they were up 3-1, and they came home, and they're against a Flyers team that they were better than. But that was the year that Ron Hextall won the Conn Smythe on the losing team in the Stanley Cup Finals. And Hextall stole Game 5 and brought that series back to Philly, and they won Game 6. And then next thing you know, we're in a tight Game 7 because Ron Hextall was amazing. And in 94, my beloved Rangers were up 3-1, and they were coming home, and they had won 3 games in a row. Lost Game 1 in overtime, and then they won 3 games and solidly. And they were coming home, and their parade route was in the paper, Mark. This was June 9th. This baby's over. Rangers are winning. All right. It was a Thursday, I think, June 9th. And then the parade was going to be, on Monday. And this was the route. It was in the New York Post. And I remember finding that out going, now that's a bad sign. You can't be putting the parade route in the paper. And sure enough, places jacked and the whole deal. And the Rangers did not play well. And it was a veteran team. Now, that franchise maybe had not won a cup, but they had Messier and Anderson and Lowe. And they had 9 guys on that team who had, hoisted the hardware before, and they did not play well. They were rattled. And Vancouver won 6-3. And then won Game 6, and then here we are in Game 7. So now I don't think it's been done since. I don't think a team down 3-1 has forced a Game 7 since the Canucks in 94. If so, I apologize. I'm racking my brain and going through it, looking at the series. I don't think anybody's done it. But now neither the Flyers nor Canucks won.
Right.
But they were able to extend the series.
Tampa needs an amazing first period to do that. If you listen to Kadri in his in-between period interviews, when asked about how he was, the one thing he did throw out there that Colorado complained about after both games is, well, the ice was crap. And when you're in Florida and it's 95 degrees and humidity matches, it's tough to have good ice. They'll have a faster ice tonight.
No doubt.
There are little subtle things. You can't grow the grass, but you can slow a team down with bad ice.
The other thing that better ice will do is the puck lays down more, and so the shooters usually get a lot more on their shots because you're never getting the rolling on-edge puck, or a lot less frequently. So, yes, better ice usually is better for the offense, which also seems to favor the Avs. Think about the 2 first periods in Denver were what? 3-1, 3-0?
Yeah.
3-1 in Game 1, 3-0 in Game 2. So right then and there. Right now, to be honest with you, with as bad as the first periods were in this series, if I were to say to you, Lightning fan, 1-0 Avs after 1, would you take it?
No, but I'd take 1-1 after 1.
Which would you rather have, 0-0 or 1-1?
1-1.
Okay. But I'm with you. Normally, I'm not a big, first goal, first 5 minutes, withstand the. But I actually think first 10 minutes tonight, and if nothing else, Tampa's got to stay out of the box. I mean, in both games in Denver, they were in the box within the first 4 minutes.
And that's because Colorado was flying around, getting that forecheck going, very aggressive, and they forced Tampa into penalties. It wasn't really, they weren't stupid penalties. They were just forced penalties because Colorado was going at a rate of speed that Tampa, quite frankly, couldn't keep up with in either game, even though game one went to overtime.
You said before game 4, for the Lightning to really get back into the series, Vasilevsky's going to have to steal a game. Well, obviously, there's no room for error now. He kept them in the game in the second half of game 4. I mean, as good as Kemper was in the first period to keep the Avs within range, because that could have been 3-0 Tampa after the first period, and it was only 1-0. Vasilevsky was tremendous in the third period, and particularly the overtime before finally getting beat. Can he steal one? Can he look at the guys and say, all right, 2-1, I took care of business. Now, you guys ready? You ready for Sunday? I'm going to need a little help. I'm tired. Going to need a little help Sunday.
I was rooting pretty hard in game 4 because I wanted Sunday. I'll be rooting really hard tonight. I'm not ready for the NHL season to end, David, and I'm afraid it's done.
I am as well. I'm worried about the first period tonight. I think if they can get out of it, they got a real shot. Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is next here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
World Tour, co-sanctioned with the PGA Tour. So,
What are the other two by chance? Did they say? I'm guessing the French Masters.
I was texting with Marco I. When I went to bed. He is all into this. The Barracuda is a joint event, and he also thinks the Barbasol, but he's not sure.
Okay.
Yep, we were just talking about that, KW.
That's nice, Adam. It's Jamal Agnew Day for the Jags today.
Wow. Yes. Baylor. Do you want on our shirts? Do you want these? Cost more. About $5 more. You could get Under Armour, you can get Nike, but it costs more. My thought was to just put our logo.
I don't think it's necessary.
My thought was to put our logo here. I was also thinking then putting the Miller and Moulton here. My son-in-law thought to actually put our logo and Miller and Moulton under it and have it all on the same side and have everything else blank. I didn't know if we had to put Florida Sports Network somewhere.
Not with this. I want to go down that slide.
You know, that would, if you think about it, that'd be an enticement. I mean, we'd buy tickets, don't you think? You sit out near the bleachers there, and then you get in line.
1-0, and it was a ding.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look now, but the Baltimore Orioles are just 7 below 500.
To think we're nearly halfway through the baseball season, and right now the White Sox are, what, like 2 games ahead of the Orioles?
Working on it, Adam. Working on it. Believe it or not.
All right, here's the deal. What would you guys buy? Because we're thinking polos, but people want T-shirts.
Polos, T-shirts. I think you got to do both. Now, do we have to?
Do we do hats? Do we do mugs?
How much do we have to buy this, or can it just be per order?
It can be per order. It might cost a little more to do it that way, but we can do it any way we want.
Because that's the guy that Bud Elliott had. It was just per order. You put it up, and someone orders it, and
right.
You don't have to have stock, right, if you know what I mean.
Right. No, we can do it per order.
I think we should, because I don't want to.
No, totally. Plus, my thing is sizes. That's the other thing. Like, we could order 100 of the right things, but what if they're in the wrong sizes?
Right. I think you just do a moisture wicking tea, as Paul says. I'm totally with him. Well, Charlie Chippin.
Look at Rory chipping in 35
Rolling
footers.
A long one.
5 seconds.
Oh, DC, we're thinking about on the back, you know.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes for the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I do want to make a correction. I couldn't remember any hockey team in the last 28 years coming from 3-1 down and forcing a game 7. First year after the lockout, Edmonton was down 3-1 to Carolina. Went into Carolina, won game 5, came home, won game 6, before Carolina won game 7. So 3 times in the last 35 years, a team down 3-1 going on the road managed to at least take it to 7. Let's see if the Lightning have a little something tonight.
We shall see. I don't like their chances.
I don't either. The Avs have been the better team.
They've been the better team, and Tampa's banged up right now. The war of attrition has caught the Lightning in this final.
I mean, the series on paper in a strange way is a little closer than it has seemed on the ice, that it's 3-1, but 2 of the Tampa's losses are in overtime.
And they won a big blowout game and lost a blowout game. So your goals against aren't, the disparity's not huge.
Right.
But I think the 7-0 game is a lot more the way the series has been played. I mean, even in the Tampa win, Colorado had opportunities in that game, had a goal taken away. It was offside, but still had one taken off the board.
20 minutes now before the hour. It is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
NBA draft last night in Orlando with a changeup. They don't go Jabari Smith from Auburn. They go Paolo Banchero from Duke. Felipe, you happy?
I mean, it was the right pick, so, and I like being right, so yeah.
Most NBA people think Jabari Smith's better, but Orlando goes with the big guy from Duke. Smith ends up going 3rd to Houston. Chad Holmgren went where he was projected to go, 2nd to Oklahoma City. Jaden Ivey wouldn't work out for Sacramento. Made no bones about it. He wanted no part of playing for Sacramento. And so Sacramento at 4 passed on him. And Detroit at 5 said, we'll take you. Little backcourt of you and Cade Cunningham, and we'll unleash the 2 of you on the Eastern Conference for the next few years.
See how that works out. But can you blame a guy for not working out for Sacramento?
No, 06 last time they made the playoffs. I think it's the longest drought in the league. I think it's the second longest drought in the major sports outside of the Mariners. But Oklahoma City, well, they made a bunch of deals because that's what they do. They gave up 3 first-round picks to the Knicks, and the Knicks drafted some guy, Ousmane Dieng, from France. Dang. Then the Knicks, they acquired the 13th pick from Charlotte, only to send him to Detroit. They also sent Kemba Walker to Detroit to free up $9 million. Knicks have 11 first and 11 second-round picks over the next 7 years. Just keep kicking the can down the road. But the Sixers traded the 23rd overall pick and Danny Green to Memphis for DeAnthony Melton and a first-rounder. But, the Heat took Nikola Jovic, right?
Yes.
Not
Nikola
Jokic. Not Jokic, Jovic. He's a small forward from Europe. Have no idea if they're going to stash him for a year or if he's going to be on the roster this coming season.
Certainly he'll have a better diet than Nikola Jokic.
Orlando, early second round, took Caleb Houston from Michigan. Nice touch. The Cavs took Isaiah Mobley, younger brother of Evan Mobley, who they took 3rd overall last year. So the Mobley brothers, who played together at USC, can now, in theory, play together in the NBA. But, Mark, you're not going to believe this. The draft then started to be overtaken by Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving talk.
No.
Yes. Because not only does Kyrie have until Wednesday to work something out with the Nets or pick up his player option or become an unrestricted free agent, but KD made sure to get his little message out that he's got a plan, depending on what Kyrie does. And so everybody's speculating about the plan. Mark, the NBA is like the WWE. It's just a bunch of guys standing around talking. Not much happens.
No. It doesn't at all.
It's a big 3-hour show for about 5 minutes of action. So get ready for that for the next week. KD and Kyrie.
And his plan.
Right. What's Kyrie going to do? And then what's KD going to do in response?
There it is.
And Mark, once again, it's somehow, some way, all involves the Lakers. They have $1.43 that they're allowed to spend under the cap. And that's before Westbrook picks up his $44 million
Well, he
player
won't pick
option.
that up because he's going to want to do what's best for the Lakers.
Right. Major League Baseball yesterday. Hey, how many people you think went to the Mighty Nooner at Marlins Park there?
3,000?
No,
the
come
Marlins
on.
do
It's
better
not
than that.
Oakland.
Come
on.
8750.
Higher.
5 digits?
5 digits. Yeah.
12-3.
Little lower, 11,854. I'm telling you, make your plans during the summer. Check the schedule. Nothing like breaking away, going to a Mighty Nooner.
We've got to do that.
Think about it.
That's got to be a plan.
We'll do the show.
We got to
We'll
figure out next time there's a Mighty Nooner with anybody we want to see, and we're gonna head out on a Thursday right after the show and go watch the baseball.
Fly out of here. Get there for the top of the second. All right.
We'll pay for Philly's gas and let him drive his new vehicle. Put some miles on that thing.
We're going to do 2+ hours each way in a car with Felipe. You got to remember, if he's driving, it's his car. He gets to control the music,
No, he
the
doesn't.
radio.
No. That's co-pilot's job. And on any time you're on a long trip of over an hour, co-pilot assumes the role of the radio. And besides, if it's the three of us, the radio will be down because the conversation will be so stimulating the entire time.
I don't think that's how that works, Mark. I think the driver has authority.
Well, see, here's where I think our leverage is.
Here's the deal. If the three of us are going anywhere together, you have zero authority. Let me just put that right out there right now. No matter whose car it's in, no matter where we're going or what we're doing.
Here's why I think ultimately we're going to get our way is because we'll end up paying for everything. And that's why he'll relent. Yeah, he'll just look at us as like a couple of uncles. They're taking me to the game and they're paying, so I put up with their nonsense.
You want to connect to the Bluetooth?
Yankees with 4 in the 9th to rally and beat the Astros 7-6. Judge with the game-winning hit. They're going to arbitration today, are the Yankees with Judge.
Does he just roll the film from last night?
It doesn't count. Arbitration's based on the past, in theory. I can't believe they're going to – listen, I would show up and say, hey, before we get going, I just want to say, you guys want $21 million, right? We're going to give them $21 million. Is that okay with everybody? All right, good. You have a great weekend. Aaron, all right, continued luck the rest of the year. Stay healthy, my friend. I mean, are they really? Yankees offer 17. Judge asks for 21. Listen, they're foolish if they begin the proceeding. They're absolutely foolish.
For
Why?
$4 million.
Why would you potentially create even the slightest bit of angst in your relationship with him? Why? I mean, let's be honest.
I like DC in the Twitch chat room. The Yankees walk in and say, you know what? We've decided we'll give you $22 million.
There you go. And the arbitrator goes, no, that's not how it works. And the Yankees go, give him $22 million. We made a mistake. Atlanta held off the Giants 7-6. The Braves are just 4 back. Braves and Dodgers this weekend. That means Freddie Freeman's return to Atlanta. His wife took to Twitter yesterday. She said first time she's been back in months. She has spent the day crying, loves the city, misses so many people.
Well,
blah, blah, blah. Freeman's hitting 303 and tearing the cover off the ball. His replacement's hitting 246. He better get a rousing ovation.
he will.
Minnesota split the 4-game series with Cleveland, 1-0. The Twins beat the Guardians. Those two teams are tied, and both would make the playoffs today. At the Rays' expense, they would be out. Milwaukee ended up splitting their 4-game series with the Cardinals, 6-4 Brewers. Those two teams tied in the Central. Dodgers doubled up Cincinnati 10-5. They swept the 3-game series.
Where are you going to go?
LA with a 1-game lead out west because the Padres lost at home to Philadelphia 6-2. Freddie Freeman, by the way, had a homer and 3 RBIs yesterday for L.A. Baltimore shut out the White Sox 4-0. Chicago, despite being 2 games below 500, just 4.5 back in the Central. Telling you, those teams better put them away. Better put them away. They got 90 games to make up 4 or 5. They've got a better roster than you guys have. Pittsburgh, 8-7 over the Cubs in 10. And first off, modern-day baseball in Oakland yesterday. The A's pitcher takes a no-hitter into the 8th. 2 outs into the 8th, he gives up a single. Then he gives up another hit, gets out of the inning. He's thrown 102 pitches. He's got a 2-hit shutout. Do they send him out for the 9th?
Of course not.
Of
what
course
happens
not.
in the 9th, David?
Well, Oakland had a 1-0 lead, and 2 Seattle relievers, Mark, combined to walk 3 hitters and throw 2 wild pitches. That's right. The Mariners scored 2 in the 9th on no hits to beat the A's 2-1. Now we play guess the attendance. Our over-under was 8,000 for a mighty nooner, 12:30 actually, local time, Seattle, Oakland. 8,000 over-under.
I went over.
Felipe?
Under.
Over.
Dang.
82-15.
I never get these. Ever.
College World Series. Ole Miss will play Oklahoma in a best-of-3 national championship series beginning tomorrow. Dylan DeLucia with a 4-hitter. 2-0 Rebels over the Razorbacks.
But he gave up 1 run so far in his 2 appearances pitching, this guy.
Neither Oklahoma nor Ole Miss were seeded. So they did not play home games in the regional. Both were on the road in the super regional. 2 unseeded teams playing for the national championship. Ole Miss was clearly one of the last 4 at-larges. There have been reports they were the very last team put into the 64-team field. They will play Oklahoma for the national championship beginning tomorrow, a 3-game series. College football, Arch Manning chooses Texas over Alabama and Georgia. Game 5 tonight. Avs looking for their 3rd Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay looking to keep the 3-peat alive. Golf. DP World Tour is not going to allow the LIV golfers to play in the Scottish Open next weekend. That's because it's an event that's kind of co-sponsored with the PGA Tour. Rory McIlroy is the co-leader at the Travelers at 8 under in Connecticut. Shoffley is a shot back. LPGA playing a major. Used to be called the LPGA Championship. Now it's the Women's PGA Championship. Ingi Chun has a 5-shot lead after the first round. She went low at 8 under. And in the NFL, Hall of Famer Hugh McElhaney passed away at the age of 93. And that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
You know, we may have stumbled upon our poll question.
Who has controls of the
Driver or co-pilot?
of the radio?
Who has control of the radio on a long drive?
I'm glad you noticed that. You're rolling through that starting 5, but I saw the controversy starting in the Twitch chat room, and I thought that may have jumped us right to a poll question right there.
I say we go with it.
Why not?
And what are we going to do? Ask another sports question?
God, no.
People seem to have no interest in that. And what is this, a sports show? Whatever. So there you go. It'll be up during the break. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton.
Very excited about this.
Especially, over the weekend.
Right.
Let it go. You guys are in control. You'll determine, right? For our mighty noon, will we let the poll vote determine who has control of the radio if the 3 of us go to a mighty nooner?
Depends on the poll, how it turns out, David.
So
there's a chance.
So you're not putting our fate in our listeners' hands.
Not a chance, David. Not a chance.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts.
FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, FLGolfCarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know, shocking, not shocking at all, but somewhat shocking. I was on the podcast straight for a little bit. I never thought that
all the things I expected. I didn't know if I expected that out of Tom. Who he hangs with in this circle. It is funny how he says the Phil people are just like the Vines people. You can't even talk to them. Smart, rich people. You just don't get it.
That it's his way, or
Yeah, that they're still on that train, if you will.
that's a tough train, in my opinion.
In mine too, but there's a lot still on it.
Okay, who am I missing from the Big 12? Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, K-State, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU, Baylor. I miss out a Texas school. 2 in Kansas, 2 in Oklahoma. Iowa
West
State,
Virginia.
West Virginia. Thank you.
I just
No, apparently he fell asleep twice during it. Right, Felipe? You fell asleep twice?
I did.
I only stayed up. I went through the lottery, and then I said, I'm out of here.
The Heat made their pick. I was like,
Oh, no, I
Good
stayed
night.
up longer than that. I guess I got to around 20 because I was trying to find out what the hell the Knicks trade was. 2 trades. I couldn't
Here
get
we
any
go.
specifics.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday, the final one of June. Thanks so much for being with us. 64 days away from Nebraska and Northwestern. Kicking off the college football season if you'll buy into it in August, week 0. If you'll wait to September 1 to be exact, we're 69 days away from the backyard brawl, Pitt and West Virginia, which will start 5 days of college football madness. It'll be glorious. And we're 11 weeks yesterday, 76 days away. Bills and Rams, baby. Let's get this party started in the 2022 NFL season. We're going to talk specifically about Arch Manning and him choosing Texas next hour. But can I just talk to you about the Big 12 for a second?
Sure.
Because this also involves the SEC. And I think that this is going to lead into, we're going to have a different playoff format by the middle of this decade. And then I think we're going to have a new round of realignment. Not sure if it's going to be in the late 2020s or if it's going to be in the mid 2030s. Don't know if they're going to wait out the TV deal or not. But UCF, along with Cincy, Houston, and BYU, they got to wait one more year. And then they're joining the Big 12. Well, that's when Arch Manning will be at Texas. You know, he's going to be a senior in high school in a couple of months. And then he's going to join Texas. And the 2023 season, you're going to have 14 teams in the Big 12. But Oklahoma and Texas could, in theory, leave. But they got to be willing to write a big check. And right now, it's a stare down. You're the Big 12, Mark, and I'm Oklahoma and Texas. We're just glaring at each other. I got a big old smile on my face going, I ain't giving you a dime. I'll wait this sucker out. Fine by me.
The Big 12's going, yeah, but you could lose to Cincinnati and UCF on your way out the door. I know you're going to get a lot of money on the other side, but you're going to look pretty bad.
So, first off, and I've made you the commissioner of the Big 12 and the stare down, so I might as well put the decision-making on your shoulder. And this, you know, it's a little nuts and bolts, but so what are you going to do for 1 to 2 years? Because potentially, and right now, the thought is I'm going to not give you a dime. I'm
What's
going
the
to wait.
check they want? For the
Well,
record, is there a number out there that they have to pay to get out?
I believe it's 40 to 50
Okay.
million. Each school would have to write
Right.
to break out early.
Which for Texas would be chump change. For Oklahoma might be a little bit more trying.
Right. But also this is where and why it is we talk TV deals all the time. Right now, the SEC on CBS has 2 football seasons left. They got this year and then they got 2023. So when Arch goes to Texas, if Texas were to join the SEC, then those games would be on CBS. And I've said that there is no way Oklahoma and Texas are going to play games on CBS.
Right.
So I think the earliest Oklahoma and Texas were to leave the Big 12 is 1 year early. The earliest they would do it is they would leave to be in the SEC for 2024. Their contracts expire in June of 2025, and they can join the SEC for the 2025 football season. So they're definitely going to play 2 more years in the Big 12. The big decision is going to be, will they buy themselves out a year early?
I will say, I just had to pull up that Texas 2023 football schedule.
Yeah.
Week 2, they're at Alabama, which means that's a CBS game. September 9th?
Maybe. It's complicated the first 2 weeks. And that's because CBS used to have the U.S. Open and tennis would go the first 2 weekends in September. So CBS's season never really started until week 3. So then when CBS sold the U.S. Open over to the 4-letter network, the first 2 weeks are kind of to be negotiated.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure if Texas at Alabama is a CBS game week 2. I'll certainly ask in the next few days. I'll reach out to a few people in New York and go, hey, is that by chance? So we'll see. But
Just thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. Here's what's really interesting about that game before we get back to our discussion. You know who the quarterback's supposed to be in Texas?
The kid that went to Ohio State.
Right. The hotshot Texas high school kid who was one of the first hotshot recruits to take advantage of NIL.
Went to Ohio State because they were going to be, because he get paid in high school.
Because Texas wouldn't allow.
Correct.
And so he left high school early, went to Ohio State, lost the battle for the job, was the backup last year, might have even been third string, and then said, I'm out of here, and went back to the state of Texas, signs with the University of Texas. He's expected to be the quarterback this year for Texas. Hot shot recruit. Well, that's great. But a year from now, I mean, do you like his chances to be the starter in 2023 over Arch Manning?
No. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, this goes back to our conversation we had a month ago of, so Mr. Booster is going to talk to the coach and say, I'm sorry, you're starting who? Because I'm paying this guy.
Exactly. I'm paying
X
him
amount of dollars.
Right.
How much flipping money is Arch Manning going to get on the NIL market?
Hey, Steve, me, Charlie, and Tony are each poning up $1 million for Arch. You ain't playing Quinn Ewers, okay? You're not doing it.
I don't care that he's getting $500,000.
And I don't care how well he played last year. And he was terrific last year. That's fantastic. We wish him all the best at Alabama. Because when I look at that game on the schedule, Mark, that's what I see. I see Arch Manning's second career start and Quinn Ewers' second start at Alabama. Because if you're Alabama right now, you're thinking, well, we need somebody in a year to replace Bryce Young. I think if you're Nick, you're trying to figure out, hey, listen, would you come early? Would you just transfer now? All right, don't play. Just come back up Bryce, get into our system. Remember, Bryce didn't play his first year. He backed up Mac, who spent 3 years backing up Jalen and Tua. It's worked out just fine. Look at where they're drafted. They're starters. They're making a lot of money. Listen, kid, you've already left one school. What's the hell leaving another?
And no, the NIL money's not as good here, but you've already made $6 million.
Well, it's not as good now. It will be a year from now. You'll be the starter. And I won't recruit any other quarterbacks. You'll be the guy. Right now, you don't have a starting job in 2023. I am promising you a starting job if you leave now.
These FCS schools that we're getting all these transfer quarterbacks are so screwed.
So back
to the Big 12.
Yeah. For this year, you got your 10 schools. A year from now, though, Cincy, Houston, BYU, and UCF join. So what are you going to do? Because potentially you have Oklahoma and Texas for 2 more years. So do you go 7-team divisions?
No, I'm going to make sure. I'm going to be a jerk if I'm the commissioner. Imagine that. I'm going to make sure that Texas and Oklahoma are playing all 4 of the new schools each of the 2 years.
Well, you could do that by putting them all in the same division.
You could, but and that's fine. But whatever the case may be, I probably would. They don't like divisions. No one's using divisions anymore. I would make sure that Texas and Oklahoma are playing UCF, Cincinnati, BYU, and Houston. That would be the first, and I would let them know. And I might let Oklahoma know, yeah, I'm not going to schedule you against Oklahoma State either. I'd play as hard ball as I could. You want out? Pay me. If not, we're going to make this as miserable for you as is humanly possible.
A year from now, they'll have 5 schools from Texas. You literally could go the 5 schools from Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and call it a division and have everybody else in their own division. No, I mean, it'd be a bit of a haphazard division. I mean, BYU is going to make any division haphazard.
So's UCF.
Right. So you do the BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, West Virginia, Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State. There's your division.
Not for me. Not going to let Oklahoma and Texas have it that easily.
Well, I'm not putting them in opposite divisions, though, because I don't want them playing each other in the Big Ten title game. And you're talking about being a jerk. To me, that'll look bad for us as a conference if they're playing each other in the conference championship game with everybody knowing they're leaving.
No, I'm just not putting them with all Oklahoma and Texas schools. Gotcha. I can keep them on the same side, but they're going to be playing Houston. They're going to be playing Cincinnati. They're going to be playing UCF.
Gotcha. Well, listen, if you're a UCF fan, that's exactly what you're wanting the commissioner to do. You're like, well, hell, if we get them for 2 years, we'll at least get each school to come to us once.
Bingo.
That would be fantastic.
Same with all the other ones. Throw a bone to all your new schools.
So just part of the game here. And Big 12 has to figure out what they're going to do a year from now in terms of scheduling as a 14-team league, just like the SEC is trying to figure out what are we going to do, whether it's in 2024 or right now. Right now, the plan is for 2025. I think at the end of the day, it's going to end up being 2024. I really do. I think because that the Big 12 loses a decent amount of leverage with just 1 year left in the conference. And I think the big money gets negotiated down to each school could probably pay 10 to 15 million to the Big 12 to leave 1 year early. And then that's the very first year that ESPN is the all everything for the SEC, and they would have Oklahoma and Texas as part of it. So I really think I think it's going to happen in 2024. Right now, everyone's planning it's going to happen in 25.
Miller and Moulton. Your thoughts? You can text the show. Text FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio is the keyword 21,000. If you've never done it before, you can join us in the Twitch chat room by going to twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, where you can interact with the Twitch chat group throughout the show and get your comments to us in real time.
And then the SEC is going to have to be the one going from 14 to 16. And how are they going to do it? They're going to do 2 8-team divisions. They're going to do 4 14 pods. The pods are more balanced in terms of everybody will see everybody more frequently, much more frequently. I mean, every athlete, if they play 4 years at their school, will play every team in the conference at least twice, and they will play at least 1 game at every team stadium.
Except for, of course, Florida and Georgia. They'll play all their games in Jacksonville, because why would you want a home game in that series? Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wednesdays, nooners.
No. Although they do have a July 6th game. Well, I tell you what, they've got the Angels in town July 5th and 6th. Tuesday, Wednesday.
We could do the Big Ten right now if you want.
Yeah, why not? Where are you going to go?
Although I did do the double drive-through yesterday. We could do that, and then they do the Big Ten.
Long segment for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Short segment for the double drive-through.
Right.
I had to laugh. I went to see Buck after my appointment yesterday. So I'm down that it's down that way. And so I ended up bullshitting with he and John for a while. And then I'm like, all right, I need help with what I talked about. I want to make sure I do this thing for David Wright. So he showed me a couple things on the computer that I didn't know. Got like a 5-minute lesson. After an hour and a half, then we did the all dumb Everblades team, which was pretty fun.
Wow. I can only imagine who made it.
A lot of centers, believe it or not. I had a cheesesteak yesterday at that Artisan's Deli. Tremendous.
Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Game 5, Stanley Cup Finals tonight in Denver. Can the Lightning keep their season and their quest for the three-peat alive? Big underdogs tonight. Never mind the series in Denver. Avs looking for their third Stanley Cup title, first in 21 years. Can Tampa force a Game 6 on Sunday? Our poll question, we were kicking around in the first hour, maybe the three of us. We love the concept of the midweek, midday baseball game.
The getaway day.
The Mighty Nooner type game, 12, 12:30, even as late as 1 o'clock. And obviously, we're tied up. I know our show's only on till 9 in 3 of our 4 markets, but we do a show till 10, and then in theory we could race out and we could head to the Trop, we could head to Miami because we're kind of in the middle of both. And so we're toying with the idea of maybe, going to a Mighty Nooner type game.
And I threw it out there that we'd make Philly drive with his new car that Grandma and Grandpa bought for him for college graduation. And I said I'd be taking control of the radio because Shotgun has control of the radio on long road trips, which was met with a quick and mighty objection from the Twitch chat room. But people on both sides enough that we threw it up as a poll question.
Right.
On a long road trip, who has control of the music? Driver or Shotgun?
And I say Driver.
And Driver's going to win overwhelming.
And Driver right now is winning overwhelmingly by a 4-1 margin.
See, I'm generous. I'll let the co-pilot get the aux, but when I say it's time for me to take over, it shouldn't be arguable.
I like what was said earlier that, I give it up, but Driver always has veto objection.
Correct.
You put a song on the driver doesn't like, no. Move past that. And you have to, because the driver's in charge of it from that perspective. I agree with that. But the driver's got stuff going on. Drive the car. Yeah, I'll worry about the music. I'll get the drinks to you. I'll get you your drive-through. We make a quick trip through the drive-through. I can hand out the burgers to everybody.
I don't know if we should have had a third option, driver, shotgun, or C, seniority. Sometimes you just allow the oldest person in the car. Because sometimes you just, you defer to age. You've earned it type deal. Remember, we are in Florida after all.
Well, speaking of which, I don't want them driving and controlling the radio.
But maybe that would help the cause.
Right.
Well, that's why you make a playlist.
So that's our poll question. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. You're going on a drive. Who's got control?
Yeah, this is such a last generation question. Like as Philly said, you put it on a playlist. It's on my phone. I've got a playlist.
Well, what can I tell you, Felipe? If you're going to a Mighty Nooner with the two of us, you're dealing with that last generation.
It's fine.
That's how it works. Hey, I had a day yesterday. We talked about it a little bit. I had to go to cancer center because I had kidney cancer a couple of years ago, and knock on wood, it has not come back for 25 months now. And I mean, I hope not. I lost a kidney over it. I was hoping the cancer went with the kidney, and so far, knock on wood, it has. So, went for the scan yesterday. And yeah, it's a process. I mean, first off, you got to fast leading up to it. And
how were you at fasting?
Oh, my goodness, gosh, so hard.
So that intermittent fasting diet is not for you?
Well, I will say 2+ years ago, I went 10 consecutive days without solid food.
Right.
And, once you get over the threshold, I felt during that time, quick tangent, I felt like one of those people that, the plane crashed and you're on the side of the mountain. Now, I wasn't ready to start cannibalizing or anything, but, you hear those stories of you get 3, 4, 5 days in to something like this, and, your mind begins to wander. You start feeling, a little lightheaded and delusional even at times. And I will say about midway through that process, I was kind of like, man, who am I? What the heck is going on? I need some food. But then once you kind of get over that threshold, you're kind of like, well, I guess I'm just not going to eat anymore. Now that took about 7 days. I got to be honest. It took a while. And then, somebody toys you with the idea of, maybe on day 11, we're going to give you a slice of bread. What? Oh my goodness. But so yesterday was hard.
Right. And you were hungry. You said it before. You looked at me before the show and said, yeah, I'm hungry. You just beware.
Yep.
I may need you a little more today. We had a little pre-show chat. And so we got through it. I had an appointment at 11. David had an appointment at 11. I even suggested, you want to meet for lunch? And he looked at me like I was the dumbest man on earth. Like, well, I don't have time for that. I have to get from my appointment to a drive-through now.
Exactly. I mean, that was my point. If your appointment was next door to mine, I probably maybe, but I might have just driven by you so fast heading to the first drive-through I could get to. And I made the announcement that it was probably going to be between the Florida Cancer Specialist and my house is about 5 miles. And I said, it's probably going to be 2 drive-throughs during that 5 miles.
Okay. How close was the first drive-through to Florida Cancer Specialist?
Well, I drove past the one that's right there. All right. I didn't.
What?
Yes. It's not.
Who was it?
I really don't want to say. It's not my cup, but I'm not a huge Sonic guy.
Oh.
Okay.
Come on. That's not even real.
Right. So
exactly.
So I drove past Sonic and then made a right. And then now it's like, okay, where are you going to go?
A Reds game.
So, now I can branch off in many different ways. I could go to a Mickey D's over here. I could go to a sub place over here, this, that, and the other thing. So as it turned out, I said, why don't you do a package deal here? Go to point A, which is very near point B, and make that your doubleheader. So I hit the BK because they got a 2 for $5 deal. All right. And so that's it. Boom. Going to go in with tax. It's $5.33. Bada bing, bada boom. I got exact change. Thank you very much. Boom. All right.
Yep.
No fries, no drink, no.
Right.
Just right. And so you kind of you make a right coming out of there. You're in a parking lot, all right, and you go through a stop sign, then you go another 100 yards, you're at another stop sign, you make a short right, you're at a traffic light.
To recap, he's already done a 2 for $5 at BK.
Well, that's just it. During the drive, 2 stop signs and a traffic light, and I'm about 200 yards away from a Taco Bell. And by the time the light turned green, there was no food left in the car. A Big King and a chicken sandwich. Gone. All right. Now we're getting warmed up. Now we make a left. All right. We drive the 200 yards and we pull in, run for the border.
Did you take that home with you then?
No. Why? I ordered a number 2. All right. They asked you, do you want to throw in a little bit more money for education? I said, sure. What the heck? So we rounded up and I got the 3 soft tacos and I got a drink with it. And
then again,
I mean, 1 taco was gone just making the U-turn out of the parking lot.
just a one-biter? Just a one-biter, huh?
Pretty much 2. I mean, soft tacos, they fold in your mouth. So anyway, by the time I got home, basically, I had no evidence.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Get them. The Knicks, by making the deal that they did, got Detroit, the kid from Memphis. They had to take on Kemba Walker to do it.
The white kid from Kansas that went second, the second pick from Kansas,
Not Ojabi there.
not Ojabi, but his mom, dad, and aunt all played D1 basketball. His mom was stunning, and she was tall. I mean, she played college. She was a beautiful blonde woman. I was like, dang, that's a family. And the grandma, the one guy that got drafted, they interviewed his grandma, was fantastic. He had mom and grandma. They sat down, both mom and grandma.
I know you got to have Stephen A there, but he knows nothing about any of the players that are drafted. Like didn't even seem interested in who was drafted in the middle of the thing. Just wanted to talk about Kemba or about Kyrie.
Oh, Kyrie and the Knicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so he only cares about the association. These guys aren't a part of it yet. Adam, I don't know how to say this gently, but if you're going to a Burger King, I mean, does it really matter if it's fresh or if it's a couple minutes old? I mean, come on. I'm okay with something that they grilled that's been sitting underneath the lamp for 2-3 minutes. I don't need to wait for them to do it fresh. I would much rather have it more quickly. I did not see the planets and moon lined up this morning. I forgot about it. Damn. We probably could have looked in the parking lot since we all pulled in right around the same time.
The planets and the moon lined up?
Yeah, what was it, 5 planets?
5 planets and the moon are all lined up this week, so you can see them at like 5:30, and with the naked eye, you can see the star. You can see Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn.
Whoa. Damn.
It was the good, literally 2 days ago on our show.
It was?
Yeah. Well, you're
Well, you were probably texting with somebody.
yeah, you were just paying attention to your phone. It's all right.
I don't know.
He brings nothing to the table. No, I'm dumping Twitter people.
Oh, that's who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down to, I think, 113 people.
That's really good. I feel guilty because a lot of people follow me and I don't want to unfollow them. You don't care.
No, I don't just because somebody follows me that I don't follow.
No,
them.
I mean, but if they're in the industry, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't feel that burden.
It's good of you.
And it's not because I'm a jerk.
Well,
It's because I don't want, the more people you follow, the more stuff that's in, and I go to Twitter for information. I don't want to have to go through.
no, I that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm with you. I
10 seconds.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. That's where you go. Download anything that you miss on the show. Geoff Ketchum, owner, publisher, orangebloods.com. We'll talk to him top of the hour. Arch Manning choosing the Longhorns and getting this thing done before he even starts his senior year in high school. He's going to Texas. A lot of schools he visited Virginia, he visited LSU, Clemson, kicked the tires with Florida for 10 minutes. But it basically came down to Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. I mean, Nick went so far as to say he wasn't going to recruit a quarterback for the class of 2023 until Arch decided. So Now, I don't know if he's scurrying, but he's going to need somebody in a year after Bryce Young gets drafted in the top 3 of the draft next year.
Now, what are the odds that he changes his mind?
Oh, I think non-existent.
None. I think this is set in stone. I don't think the Manning family operates that way. He got paid a lot of money to go to Texas.
Well,
That's a good point.
well, we don't know that. We know he will be paid. See, isn't that part of the whole problem with NIL? It's not supposed to be a signing bonus. It's supposed to be once you choose where you go.
Actually, you're supposed to be on campus, I thought. I mean, I think you're actually supposed to be. I guess high school kids can get NIL now, depending on what state you're in.
Right. And I don't know if Arch can get NIL or not. But in theory, he can't get anything from the University of Texas for another year.
Right.
I said
No.
right, in theory.
I've got you.
Right. Our poll question, by the way, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. We were kicking around, taking a drive to see a midweek Rays or Marlins game.
A Miller Moulton Felipe road trip.
Right. We've never had one of those. And so we were kicking around the idea, and then it was brought up, well, who's going to control the entertainment? And yes, we even mentioned a radio. And is it the driver
or shotgun?
Yeah.
And most of you are saying driver.
Yes.
4 or 5.
I believe it's a driver. Mark believes it's shotgun.
I give it up on a long trip. I have no problem giving up control of the radio. And that's on a road trip with guys. Now, I'm not going to give it up to my wife because I don't know if I want to do her music for that long.
Yeah, the protocol changes with the wife, doesn't it?
But most of the time, it does. I will say I probably get the music control then until she just turns it off, until it's too much noise and it goes away. And then she's actually in charge then. The more I think about it, shotgun's always in charge in my car. Unless I'm driving alone.
We were kicking around when Arch is at Texas, and when is it that Texas and Oklahoma are going to leave the Big 12 and go to the SEC? How is the Big 12 going to handle their conference with Texas and Oklahoma in it, and Cincy, Houston, BYU, and UCF all joining a year from now? Will they just have a big 14-team conference? Will they divvy it up 7-7? What do you do with Oklahoma and Texas? Blah, blah, blah. Well, then Oklahoma and Texas are going to move to the SEC. They're going to be 16 teams. Do you just go 8-8? Do you go 14 pods? They're going to have to decide. Well, apparently the Big Ten's kicking around realignment as well.
And the model that keeps getting the most talk about is 3 permanents and then rotating the rest. That you'd have 3 permanent rivals, if you will. That seems to have the most momentum going forward. But I do believe, and I don't know about you, David, I believe divisions are going away in the Big Ten.
Do you think that's smart? Because then in theory, we go with this 3-3-5, which, by the way, seems like a 3rd and 7 defense, by the way. Hey, what do we throw out there? Let's go with the 3-3-5. We'll decide whether or not we drop the backers into coverage or whether or not we send them. What do you say? It's actually a lot of teams-based defense nowadays, particularly in college football. Not so much the NFL, but in college, you see a lot of 3-3-5. So would you then just have the 3-3-5 and the 2 teams that end up with the 2 best records, you just play them in the Big Ten title game?
Yes.
Okay. Got to admit, man, if you're in the Big Ten West, I don't know how you'd be in favor of this. I mean, come on now. Let's be brutally honest.
Oh, no.
Look in the mirror.
I think everybody in the East would vote yes, because even the bad teams in the East are going to get a better shake at this than they would in the current situation.
Well, yeah, scheduling alone, you might get the right year.
Rutgers and Maryland are going, hell yes.
Right. We have no chance to win the East. Right. But maybe I don't know, once every 20 years, we could finish second in a 3-3-5 scenario.
Sparty'd be jumping up and down to do it. You mean I don't have to play Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State every year?
All right. This is from The Athletic 3 days ago. In terms of who would play the three teams. You know, I mean, this is the one that everybody's going to scream and yell about.
Right.
You know, like, okay, Ohio State. According to this one, they'd get Michigan, Penn State, Maryland. And a lot of Buckeye fans listening right now. That working for you? Michigan, Penn State, Maryland?
And just tell me, Buckeye fan, FSN radio to 21,000, who would you replace Maryland with? Because I think you're comfortable with the Michigan and Ohio State.
Now, remember, you got 14 teams here. You know, you've got to work it around. I mean, Maryland needs somebody to play too. So that has to be kept in mind, even though you're going to look at this from an Ohio State perspective or a Michigan perspective or a Wisconsin perspective, whatever it may be. Michigan's three teams, you mentioned them earlier: Ohio State, Michigan State, Rutgers.
Okay, that's just wrong. That's no little brown jug.
Which is Minnesota, for those that don't know. Now, they've stopped playing every year like 10 plus years ago, 15 years ago even now. That they don't play every year for the little brown jug. But when they play, that's what they play for. Minnesota, for the record, it'd be Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska.
And I think Minnesota would dump Nebraska for Michigan tomorrow.
Well, they would, but it looks like that's not an option. I will say the two that the Minnesota fan absolutely positively has to play are Wisconsin and Iowa.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, listen, I think we all have to be flexible here. If you're part of the conference, I think every school's got to get their big two. The third one's got to be the one that you live with. Don't you think?
Yes.
Like for Michigan State, you're a Michigan State grad. You know, you get Penn State, Michigan are your first two. Northwestern's your third. You know, luck of the draw, you know.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that does nothing for you, and I
thought it would be Indiana based on Sparty plays a dumb trophy game against Indiana, so I thought that would be their third.
You know, you want to talk about a team that loses out like Rutgers. I would have thought Penn State would have been their number one. According to this plan, they get Maryland, Michigan, Indiana. I mean, Rutgers is like, listen, we got to play Penn State. We border them, for goodness sakes. It's a major recruiting battle for us. You know, they try to come in and invade our state, and we're trying to get as far into Pennsylvania as we can. We got to play Penn State.
I think Maryland would be the same way, by the way.
Maryland's Rutgers, Penn State, Ohio State. I think that's perfect. I think they're jumping up and down. They get the two they absolutely have to have in Rutgers and Penn State geographically, and then it's like, wow, we get the Buckeyes. Every other year, that means we get them at home. That's awesome. That's a season ticket deal right there. So, you know, you go up and down here. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. You figure that's...
Those three are going to be intertwined.
And Nebraska. All right. Nebraska's big three. Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. See, I think that's perfect.
Well, they've got to have Iowa.
Yeah. And Wisconsin, Minnesota just north of it. So, yeah, okay, good. So this is what they're debating, and you have no idea. I don't understand the whole 3-3-5. I understand the three part. I don't really understand the three and the five. I don't. I'll need some time to read it over and maybe let it soak in, kind of like a piece of bread with gravy. But I understand the first part here. The three opponents you're going to play every year. That I get.
See, if they were going to do 8 conference games, it would be 3-5-5, if you will. You 2 years with 5 teams, 2 years with 5 teams.
Right. So I got to admit, I mean, I would keep it the way it is now over this. Personally.
Yeah, I don't think well, you're right. The West will all vote that way. I don't know how you could switch it. It almost seems like it would be in a deadlock every year. That every West school would vote to stay the same and every East school would vote to change.
Now, I will say, you know, the West teams by this pod are all getting who they want. You know, we talked about who Minnesota's getting, although they're not getting Michigan. They're getting Nebraska instead. But, you know, we like who Wisconsin gets. We like who Iowa gets. We like who, Northwestern gets Illinois, Michigan State, Purdue. Illinois gets Northwestern, Purdue, Indiana. Purdue and Indiana obviously get each other. They both get Illinois. Indiana gets Rutgers. Purdue gets Northwestern. I think the Western Division, for whatever reason, it just seems to fit a little bit better for them than it does necessarily for the teams in the East. I think I would tweak some schedules for the teams that are currently in the Big Ten East. But we bring it up because, this is, you think about it, SEC fan. And by the way, if it's happening in the Big Ten and then it's happening in the SEC, at what point does the ACC look around one another and go, hey, do we scrap the divisions?
Well, I mean, it might open up ESPN to pay you more.
But we've talked about the potential of the 4-14 pods in the SEC. And from a scheduling standpoint, we love it. We think it's awesome. They're all going to play each other. At worst, you'll go every other year. You're playing a team, and you'll host every team in the league once every 4 years. That's so much better than it is now. I mean, we have times now, 10, 11, 12 years in which schools don't even play each other. Never mind host them. I mean, I remember a few years ago, Georgia went to LSU. It's the first time Georgia had gone to LSU in 12 years. I mean, both fan bases were fired up for the game.
Absolutely.
Alabama and Georgia
don't play all that often because Georgia's got Auburn. That's their permanent crossover. So you're rolling those teams in, and the SEC fan gets this.
So, scheduling in college football, it's a big deal, and it's going to become a little controversial, a little complicated here. And it's being done to do what? Get your best teams playing in the last game of your conference season to try to get what? More teams in the playoff, because we all think the playoff's expanding here in the next handful of years.
And now that they said you don't really have to have divisions, the conferences are looking to see whether or not that's the move for them going down the road. Is that in the best interest of the conference? I mean, they're going to have conference championship games. That's never going to end. But with permanent divisions, does that end?
No, that's a cash grab. There's no way the conferences will ever give that up. I'll say this. I think with the conferences getting bigger and bigger, because you think about it, the Big 12 is going to be 12 eventually. When Oklahoma and Texas leave, it'll be back to 12. It's 10 right now. The SEC is going to go to 16. If the day comes that we get the expansion that we're thinking of and maybe just 3 power conferences, well, then they're all probably going to be 18, 20, 24 teams. So I think we're going to end up with 13 regular season games. I think all this realignment may happen first, but I think that they're all going to look at one another and go, well, the networks want more product.
Is the 13th game, in essence, a preseason game, though, where the FCS schools, it's a home game for all these big boys, a cash grab type of game?
Yes. And because I also think because of television that we're going to see everybody play at least 9 conference games going forward. And so then it's going to be, what do they need, Mark? They need another win on the schedule to do what? Go to bowls. So we get a home game and we get a win. What do you say we play a 13th game?
And this could be right along the time that these schools break away and do their own thing. And it keeps everybody on board.
And I think you're going to see at the same time, they're going to adjust the clock of the college football game. It's going to become more of an NFL clock. So you're going to see less plays. So therefore, from a safety standpoint, they're going to be able to make the case, well, we're playing about 15 less plays a game. 15 times 12 is 180 plays. So we can fit in one more game. And the kids are still playing less plays in 13 games than they used to be playing in 12.
Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening. We'll talk Texas on the other side.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a power strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
When Oklahoma and Texas leave the Big 12, if you had to rank the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big 12, where would you rank it?
Say that again.
So when Oklahoma and Texas lead the Big 12,
Yep.
obviously the SEC and the Big 10 are 1 and 2. Of the other three, how would you rank them? Oklahoma, Texas, and the SEC. ACC, Pac-12, Big 12.
Jesus. Pac-12 is 1.
I think I might go ACC.
I go
Big
ACC.
12.
I got Miami. I got Florida State. Penn State should be, by the way, Penn State should be Rutgers, Maryland, and Ohio State. Michigan State should not be on Penn State's list.
Well, but that's the whole conference thing. You know, I will say they take Penn State off your schedule. You know, you only have one meaty game guaranteed. It's Michigan.
Yeah, no, I know.
And it means that every other year you don't have them at home. So, you know, your home schedule could be shit for season ticket purposes.
Yeah, no. I mean,
I got to admit, if I'm Penn State, it's like Michigan State, Ohio State, Maryland. I'd be like, yeah, take Ohio State off.
I
Give me
gotta
Rutgers.
get to Happy Valley for a game.
It's pretty cool. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. Well, speaking about somebody, they don't really. I know they got this Auburn thing going there. They're not really big on non-conference games. Holy cow. How many plays in the average NFL game, and how many plays in the average college game?
Okay.
30 seconds.
And we're talking offensive and defense here, not kicking game. Nowadays, average NFL game is in the 65 range. Average
per side.
Yeah. Offense and defense. 65 offense, 65 defense. NFL. The average college game is in the 75 to 80 range.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas. Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Thanks so much for being with us. Halfway home in the 239 Miller and Moulton Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our poll question. So you're going on a trip. Who's in control of the entertainment, driver or shotgun? Mark says shotgun. I say driver. Felipe says driver. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, and vote accordingly. Geoff Ketchum's kind enough to join us. He's a big deal with orangebloods.com, considering he's the owner and publisher. You can follow Geoff on Twitter at GKKetch, GKKETCH. Geoff, it's David and Mark. Thanks for agreeing to do this, particularly at this hour where you are. How are you?
I'm good. The answer is the driver.
All right.
I could tell.
Put me down officially on the record.
We got it. We got it, Geoff. Obviously, a huge day for the Longhorns. Arch Manning chose Texas. What do you think was the final, I guess, close for Texas? What got this done at the end of the day?
Well, from the very beginning, it seems like he and the family have really had a connection with Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian. So going back for the last couple of years, it had always felt like Sarkisian and then Texas was going to be a finalist in this. And, I think there was some question about Texas goes 5-7 last year. Are they riskier than Georgia in a head-to-head battle for Manning? But I think the one thing that Texas had as an advantage against Georgia was that from a quarterback development standpoint, Sarkisian's list of proteges is long and healthy. And Georgia, although they put in two quarterbacks into the draft twice since, I guess, 2013, they're not as necessarily known for their quarterback development. So I think the combination of what Manning is what Sarkisian is historically known to do with high-level quarterbacks and the fact that they just seem to really like Texas. I mean, I was covering recruiting back in 1999 when Eli was a prospect, and Texas was heavily under consideration. I actually interviewed Eli and Archie on Eli's official visit to Texas back in November of 98. And had Chris Sims not gone to Texas, there was always a lot of speculation that Eli might have gone to Texas. So the Manning-Texas flirtation has existed for a couple of decades. And in the end, I think it came down to relationships, and I think Steve Sarkisian must have created the best one.
Well, and Jeff, it makes sense if you think about it, and I understand that he is Cooper's son and that Peyton and Eli are only uncles, but Peyton and Eli basically both chose Tennessee and Ole Miss for the same guy, David Cutcliffe. And so it would make sense that, if there was any advice given, at the family dinner table one day, it's like, listen, marry yourself to somebody. It's a head coach, offensive coordinator, because like Cutcliffe was OC at Tennessee for Peyton, but he was head coach for Eli at Ole Miss. So it makes sense. My question to you, Jeff, do you think this was in play when Texas decided to get rid of Herman and bring Sarkisian in? Do you think this was in play at all? Because in theory, he would have followed Sarkisian if he was still at Alabama.
I don't think it's that cut and dry, because I do think that Georgia, there's some talk that during the season last year and towards the end of last season, and Georgia's soaring into the stratosphere, that they would have been the favorite, Texas coming off a 5-7 season. I think one of the things that Texas really had to do, and I think they've done over the last 6 months, is soothe any concerns that would have existed following that type of a season. I know that, there was some talk for months from sourcing, high-level sourcing that we spoke with, that Arch was going to wait until the season to make a decision. And I think part of that, that he wouldn't need to wait for Georgia, and he wouldn't need to wait for Alabama. I think there was a time when there was a feeling that they needed to wait to make sure that Sarkisian and Texas were going to work with or without, Arch Manning, that this wasn't a savior deal, and that he wasn't walking into a situation by year 2 or 3, his head coach is on the hot seat. I think one of the things that really helped Texas is that they were able to get Quinn Ewers in the transfer portal from Ohio State, a guy that, depending on when you want to classify him, was every bit the recruiting prospect, and probably slightly more so than Arch Manning as a number 1 overall player in the country. He comes to Texas during the past semester, projected to start this year and then projected to start next year when Arch would presumably be redshirting. The thought is Quinn Ewers will be leaving for the NFL after next season, which then opens the door for Arch to compete for the starting quarterback job in a redshirt freshman season. They didn't automatically want Arch to have to come in and play as a true freshman. They didn't want him to automatically be seen as a guy that has to put the whole program on his shoulders. That's kind of Quinn Ewers' job for the next 2 years. And Ewers played a really healthy role in the recruitment of Manning over the last 6 months since he's been on campus, even so much as last weekend spending a lot of time with Manning. So I think very quietly, one of the things that helped Texas, that I think a lot of people might have thought originally might hurt Texas, was the acquisition of Quinn Ewers, because it provides a little bit of a buffer between when Manning shows up on campus and when he'll be expected to do a lot of heavy lifting. So a lot of little things came together in order for Texas to make this happen. And the Ewer thing shouldn't be completely undersold, because everything that we had heard was that Arch really just wanted, I don't know that he wants to be one of the guys in the program, but he just didn't want to be seen as a guy that had to carry the entire weight of the world on his shoulders as a college experience. The Ewers coming to Texas is supposed to alleviate that.
Geoff Ketchum, orangebloods.com, orangebloods.com. Follow Jeff on Twitter at GKKetch. That's GKKETCH.
Well, and that seems to be, Jeff, with Ewer coming there, because I think on the outside, people think that, well, was Ewer going to transfer again? Is this going to be 3 schools in 3 years? But it seems that the house in Texas is a lot more in order than people are giving it credit for on the outside.
Yeah, I think so. I think the big question is they signed another quarterback last year out of California, Malik Murphy, who was really the high school kid in last year's class. Ewers is definitely starting the next 2 years if everything goes right. The battle would be Malik Murphy versus Arch Manning for that 2024 starting quarterback job. I think there's some questions about will Malik Murphy hang in there. I think physically Malik Murphy's as talented as either of the other two guys that we're talking about. He just lacks game reps and maybe a big last name. If a competition is going to take place at Texas for the quarterback job in a couple of years, it'll be Malik Murphy versus Arch Manning. I don't think Arch Manning is competing against Quinn Ewers a single day in his career as a Texas quarterback, unless it goes completely off the rails for Quinn Ewers. I would imagine, I guess, this year, the expectation is he's going to be really good, and that he's going to be really good for 2 years, and that part of the reason why he went to Ohio State was so that his eligibility clock could begin as soon as possible so that he could leave to go pro after next season. So the plan is absolutely Ewers for 2 seasons and then wave goodbye to him. And I think Arch knows that. So, yeah, there's at least here anyway, it was only seen as a positive that Ewers was in the equation. And the perception right now is that they would never need to compete against each other at any point, that it'd be more of a transition than a crossover.
Limited time left. Quickly, your gut feeling. Do you think Texas will leave for the SEC a year early in 24, or do you think that this is going to play out to 25?
Gun to my head, 2025.
Is Sarkisian doing things better than Herman and Charlie Strong? Because obviously at 5 and 7, we all looked at one another and went, well, damn, what the hell's changed?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get from an on-the-field product standpoint, no. You can't give him the benefit of the doubt after a 5 and 7 season. The reconstruction of the roster this offseason and what they've been able to do in the portal, and now the acquisition of Arch Manning and recruiting, you have to say yes from that component. But, he's never won more than 8 games as a head coach in the regular season, whether it be at Washington, whether it be at USC, or now at Texas. Yeah, there's a big question mark with Steve Sarkisian. He still has to do it. He still has to prove that he can win at the highest level in college football. That certainly hasn't been done yet. I think yesterday is supposed to be a big piece of that puzzle in time, but we're not there yet.
Geoff, thanks for making time for us. We're very appreciative of it. Have a great holiday in a week or so, and hopefully we can catch up again either right on the eve of the season or early in it.
Likewise, my guys. Again, the driver, always. And you guys have a great rest of the summer.
Thanks, Geoff.
Geoff Ketchum, owner, publisher, orangebloods.com. Orangebloods.com. It's a Longhorns rival site. You can follow Geoff on Twitter, GK Ketch. Ketch, GK Ketch.
Man, that quarterback room must get paid.
Well, the high school kid from California is going to transfer. I mean, that deal's done now.
Could bode well for USC down the road.
Sure. Or hell, every team's in play nowadays. I mean, in all seriousness, I think Florida's next quarterback after Richardson is someone who has committed to or is going to be in a quarterback room this year elsewhere. It wouldn't shock me at all unless Napier can land someone.
And even if he lands someone, it doesn't mean that Florida's starting quarterback for the 2023 season isn't on a roster somewhere else right now. I mean, we just heard exactly what the game plan is in Texas. Keep the hotshot kid for 2 years, and then Arch Manning comes in.
I mean, Cristobal was in Oregon the last handful of years. They were doing a great job recruiting California. He was probably in on that kid when he was at Oregon.
And think of what he's got now to pay players. I mean, he's got Ruiz, who's throwing a $500,000 at a basketball player. Think what he'd give for a quarterback.
I don't think it's annually, but yes. And what did he, 12 million? Was it 8, 12? What was it that he said that he has, for all the athletes at 3 different schools that he is bankrolling, the majority of them at Miami. But I think for this year, it's like either it was 8 or 12. That's how much he's spending. Well, he's a billionaire, though. So, please. And just make a good investment somewhere and make that back. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Three of our last four segments have just been college football on June 24th.
We only took one day off from football.
No.
Yeah, we've... Well...
I've got something for 2-3 minutes, but do you have? I have the stats for plays per game. You can
Okay.
read I don't know if there's a text or
Yeah.
anything you want to read, and then. Felipe, if you ever go on television, and I'm not kidding, like this guy on television, you tell me what are the first 2 things you notice about him if he appears on television again.
The dude in the box?
Yeah. But on the small box, it's tougher to tell. But the first 2, historically, when research is done by TV consultants on men, the first 2 things that are noticed: hair, tie.
His tie did look a little.
Tie is just a little off. You
Just a little
don't
bit.
want to be able to see the stem on a tie. If you ever go on TV, make sure you get your knot right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lightning try to extend the series tonight. Force a game 6, which would be at home Sunday against the Avs. Colorado heavy favorites tonight. And Mark, that first period tonight, I mean, man, their 2 first periods in Denver were bad.
And they showed a stat. Will be the 38th game 5 when a series is at 3-1. 20 of the 37 previous have ended in game 5. There's a more likely chance of this series ending tonight than it going 6 or 7.
3 teams in the last 35 years down 3-1 going on the road for game 5 have forced a game 7. 87 Flyers behind Ron Hextall in goal. He ended up winning the Conn Smythe, even though they lost the finals in 7. Vancouver in 94, down 3-1 to the Rangers, forced a game 7. And Edmonton in 06, down 3-1, went into Carolina, beat the Canes, then won game 6 at home before losing in game 7. So can the Lightning, who, let's face it, they've played 3 elimination games so far in these playoffs. This will be their 3rd. They played the 2 against Toronto. And the only other elimination game, Mark, they've played during this run was last year, conference finals. The Islanders took them to 7. So obviously they're 3-0 in elimination games during this 3-year run.
And we shall see tonight. For the record, both David and I picking Colorado to finish this tonight. Both want to be watching hockey on Sunday.
Man.
Rooting hard in game 4 for Tampa, rather, to tie that sucker up so that we had at least 6 games to get through. Couple of texts that I want to get to. And if you want to text the show, text the keyword FSN radio if you've never texted before to 21,000. Once you have done so, you are in. Texter just wondering about, we were talking about plays and games, thought that there was more games in the NFL than the NCAA, and was shocked when I told him the numbers, but I did laugh. He goes, I guess because I'm a Notre Dame fan and NBC makes those games drag on forever. Trust me, sir, that's every network, and all of the college games last forever because there are so many plays in them because they're throwing the ball so darn much. And just the way the clock sets up, it sets up for more opportunities for more plays. One other text here, David, that says, when Arch leaves Texas, the Manning family will still have 0 college football conference titles.
And believe
That's
it or not,
shot right there.
Yeah, it is a shot. It definitely is. Well, hold on a second. Peyton's senior year at Tennessee, they didn't beat Florida, but I believe they won the SEC in 97. He lost to them, but I believe Tennessee won the SEC in 97.
they won the East. Did they beat Auburn?
I don't know who they played in 97, to be honest with you. But Florida did beat. I mean, you know, we know Peyton went over
Right.
against the Gators. But I thought Florida, after beating Tennessee early in the season, stumbled, lost 2-3 games.
Tennessee beat Auburn 30-29 in that game.
And I believe Peyton's the quarterback of the Vols in 97 because he and Ryan Leaf were in the 98 draft. So you think because they lost to Florida that they didn't win the conference title, but in fact they did. In fact, same thing happened the last time Tennessee went to the SEC title game in 07. Gators whooped them and beat them by like 4 touchdowns in the Swamp. But the Gators stumbled, and Tennessee ended up representing the East that year. Hey, we brought up something a couple segments ago in the 7 o'clock hour about plays per game. And I said, I think one of the ways that college football is going to evolve is I really think for, guess what, money, they're going to add a 13th game in the regular season. The networks want more inventory. The home teams want to be able to schedule a win at home and make the millions of dollars from hosting that extra home game. And I said, I think they're going to alter their clock and make it more of an NFL clock, which will reduce the number of plays in a game. And then they'll be able to stand before the microphone and go, well, actually, even adding a game by changing the clock, I don't know why I've added an accent, but I just thought I'd do it. But by adding a game and changing the clock, we're actually going to play less plays with a 13-game schedule than we would have with a 12. So last year, 130 Division 1A schools. Michigan was 65 in terms of number of offensive plays per game.
Okay.
70.3. The team that played at the slowest pace in the country was K-State, 58 offensive plays a game. The team that played with the highest pace was Wake Forest at 81.4 plays per game. Now, I understand it, but if you look at the numbers and it's 70, maybe 71. And if you split the difference, by the way, 81 and 58, it's
right.
It's 70. So let's just call it 70 offensive plays in a college football game on average last year. Are we good with that?
Okay.
All right. So then you have the number of offensive plays in an NFL game. Well, the Ravens ran the most.
That offense the quick pace, kind of running a college style offense makes sense.
70. How about that? College style offense, and they 70 plays.
They got to the average of the college.
Seattle, the slowest pace, 56. But if you look at teams that are 15, 16, 17, Rams, Eagles, and the Commanders, they're all 63. So the average number of offensive plays in an NFL game is 63. The average number of offensive plays in a college game is 70 or 71. Let's just call it 70. Let's just say there's 7 plays per game. 7 times 12 is 84. You reduce the number of plays per game, you're reducing it by 84. You add a game, okay, you're adding what? 63 plays. You can stand before and go, believe it or not, even by adding a 13th game, kid's going to play 20 to 25 less plays a season in a 13th game with our new clock than he would have with the old one.
And besides, the 13th game's a schedule game for money.
Right.
The first stringers theoretically shouldn't even be playing in the fourth quarter of this game.
So you're talking 7 or 8 offensive plays, and obviously that's then each team. So when you start adding up the plays, and in the NFL, they've all but eliminated, kickoff are,
No, there actually are special teams in college. There aren't
right.
in the NFL anymore. There really are not.
So if you're adding 8 on each side, all right, that's 16 extra plays in a college game. And then if you throw in a couple of special teams plays, you're looking at 18 to 20 more football plays. Well, now you know partly why college games are longer. I mean, think about it. That's a quarter of NFL action. Damn near.
Right. That's what they're playing. I mean, that's the difference is you're getting almost, and maybe we should embrace these college games, Davis, because we actually get 5 quarters of football compared to what you get on Sunday.
And halftime's about 5-6 minutes longer as well. And now you see why an NFL game is about 3:06 and a college game's around 3:35.
Miller and Moulton. We're 4 hours. We're a long college football game.
Yes, we are.
We're Wake Forest against Michigan, for crying out loud. This thing's taken forever. Thanks for sticking with us on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
For his felony battery charge. That's the Vegas thing, Pro Bowl weekend.
Gotcha.
Yeah, all right. Oh my goodness. Well, that's the heat index. Okay. It's already 100 in Tampa with the heat index, which means it's hotter than that here.
It's actually been hotter north.
Has it?
Orlando and Jacksonville have been hotter than us for the week.
Whoever Randy Pittman is, he decommitted from Florida State. Yeah, you were right, by the way. Lai was right. Scottish Barbasol Barracuda. I've got the article here. Just happened to find that. We get into that.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville's been 100, I think, twice this week. Orlando's been around 99, 100. You talking about that one?
Yes. Stunning.
Oh, no. Definitely not. Let's go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
The home stretch for those in Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, and Lake City. Miller and Moulton. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of the show? Download it. floridasportsnetwork.com. Felipe does a great job getting every hour up very quickly after the hour has already taken place. So floridasportsnetwork.com, the place to go for our podcasts. And our poll question, 3 of us talking about maybe taking a road trip for a midweek Rays or Marlins game, a mighty nooner, you may say. And got into a debate as to who would control the entertainment on the drive.
It's the driver. I'm wrong. My opinion is wrong. You guys can find me $100,000.
Geoff Ketchum of orangebloods.com also thinks it's the driver. I think it's the driver. Felipe thinks it's the driver.
I let Shotgun run the controls. I do.
But
we're done.
By a 4-1 margin right now, it seems to be the driver. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote. kicking a few things around. NBA draft came and went.
All your Maverick Top Gun, you'd think you'd have the wingman's back a little bit over there, Moulton.
Listen, I'm a big fan of the wingman. I am. I just think that, the veto power ultimately goes to the driver.
And that I totally agree with.
I mean, if I was driving, I have no problems with the wife, control the entertainment. I'm concentrating on driving. I'm not paying attention to whatever you're listening to, whatever you're doing. I'm really not. Unless all of a sudden a horrendous song, because she's into the whole 80s on 8 thing. And like if Come On Eileen comes on and she all of a sudden, is
and you're not singing along, then there's something wrong with you.
No. Nope. Sorry. That's got to go.
Midnight Riders or whatever the hell they are.
Right. Nope. Got to go.
Let me ask you a more important question than who controls the radio drive-through. Right. If you and I are on this road trip with Felipe and we do a drive-through, which, is standard operating procedure for a road trip of a drive-through, would you let the person shotgun hand food out, or would you be grabbing the bag, grabbing your stuff right away, and then throwing the bag at them?
I prefer that everybody gets their food and I'm last. I just want to be handed what's left. And I don't care if it's multiple bags. I don't want my food first. Everybody get your food.
So you'd hand the bag over to me and let me distribute
totally.
Food.
Yeah, okay, I'd be like, guys, get your stuff and just hand me what's left.
And that's what most people do. But I could see, based on what you told me an hour ago, I could see you taking the bag and going, "Ooh, there's my double cheeseburger," grabbing it, and then handing the rest of the bag over so you had something to munch on while food was being passed out. That's all.
No, I mean, while I'm driving, I've got, other things to do. I don't need to start eating right away. I mean, this isn't like, leaving the cancer scan yesterday and had to fast and hadn't eaten in about 18 hours. And yeah, I was a danger to Western civilization at large around noon yesterday. I really was. So yeah, give me the darn food. I mean,
and as KW points out, the driver needs the bag because you got to pour all the fries in the bottom of the bag. You've got to have room for shrapnel to fly around in the in that bag.
Well, and the other thing by getting it last is that the fries that have fallen out for others, they usually leave them. They don't start picking in because others' food is there, so they just kind of go, "Oh, I lost 3 fries. Oh, I lost 4 fries." Well, okay, 2-3 people in the car. I just picked up a dozen fries, so just grab me the bag.
Which is nice.
Which is nice. So yeah,
all right. Just curious, getting this all down.
Here's, by the way, you've not thought you were going to go a little bit further. I do want to bring this one thing up. I am not a fan, and I've actually, gotten into a bit of a dispute with the wife one time in which the passenger, shotgun, wants to, I'll take your burger out and I'll open it up and I'll make it. Give me the damn burger. Okay.
Thank you, David.
Give me the damn
burger. No. The wife tries to pull this same crap. I know how I want to eat my food. Give me the bag with my food in it and keep your arms, hands, and feet away from the area.
Right. I mean, I looked at her and I said, and Felipe, the look of horror.
Cute. It's so cute that they try to do that.
The look of horror on Felipe's face right now, like, well, why are you guys this mean to the?
No. Who the hell would grab someone else's burger and start opening it?
No. Because, and here's, no. Think about it this way, Felipe. Remember, you're unattached. You haven't had a serious relationship yet. Okay. You'll go down this road. First off, it's them. They think they're showing their love for you, and you're driving. You're busy. You don't have time for this. I will set your meal up for you.
Where do you want me to set the burger? Where do you? No. Just give me the bag with all the food in it. I can. I've done this before.
That's the miscalculation that they make. I appreciate the fact that you love me. Okay, and to you, this is doing something nice. But here's the deal.
But can you quickly just look to your left? Look at the shape of me.
Right.
And understand that I can get through this bag with or without you.
Right. I'm better at this than you. I am far more experienced at this than you. I have a way of eating this food. Do not break my rhythm.
I'm sorry. I mean, I know you're saying wife. I don't even think wives have that authority. It's my food. No one touches
No,
my food except
Actually,
me.
it's your food because you're getting. If she's in the car, there's food for her
Also,
as well.
think about
You got. See, you've already explained how single you are.
correct. Also, you are not envisioning the process. What happens? We get the food from the drive-thru, and what do? We just said we don't grab our food. We hand the food to the person next to us. So you disperse it. So then what ends up happening is last food left in the bag is ours. And they decide, well, I'm going to make it nice for them. I'll open up his
Basically, they're putting it on a
burger.
tray for you.
Right.
They think they're getting everything out and setting
Right.
it up like you're in a restaurant.
Hey,
just give me the bag.
And I don't want to give you all your fries at one time because you may spill them and what have you. So how about if I just open up your burger thing here and I'll just put in some of your fries? And it's literally like, do me a favor, get your hands off my food, give me the bag, thank you very much, and change the radio because the song sucks. Right.
Is it humanly possible to get a bag of food with French fries and not take a fry out of the bag?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It's the biggest temptation probably in history.
Miller and Moulton talking about the big issues of the day here on the Florida Sports Network. NBA draft came and went. The league does their draft all wrong. They don't announce trades before they happen. So guys get selected. They put the hats on of teams they're never going to play for. You never get that picture again. We have no idea what's going on. We have to go on the internet 2 hours after the draft to figure out who the heck got traded for who and how many damn picks. Oh, unbelievable. 5 minutes in between picks. That would seem to be a good thing. It actually no time. No time for nothing. And not even enough time to explain what just happened.
Not really. Not really when they're trying to get interviews and they're trying to have so many things happen in quick fashion. It was I must say, to work that draft last night, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, there sure is. I don't even know why you're trying to have guests, to be honest with you. 5 minutes in between picks, not much going on here. Not much time. Once you do, and I will say, and I thought Malika Andrews did a fine job. It was her first draft. She was fine. The only thing she kept harping on, to me, a little too much. And I like the family dynamic. She just kept harping on. I mean, everybody, they get up and they're crying and they're hugging their parents who are crying. Well, okay, the 15th time we've seen this, I mean, we get it. Yeah, it's great for the family. We get it. I got no problem with the tears. Okay, it's been a long journey. A lot of bad AAU basketball here.
Well, and that's why I actually like them asking some of the moms a question. Instead of asking the guy, she did ask, Mom, what's your son bring to the table?
Yeah.
What's he bringing to whomever? And I actually thought, the one mom I happened to hear answer it, she kind of perked up and went, well, he works really hard. Doesn't take no for, and she gave a great answer. I'm like, hey, all right, Mom.
It was cool to see Paolo Banchero, who was taken first overall when the thought was he was going to go third overall to Houston. Orlando ends up taking him first, and he gets the proverbial, how does it feel question. And he said, I can't believe this. And he was damn near speechless. He was apologizing. He's like, I don't know I cannot believe he goes, I've always dreamed about the NBA. When having getting drafted, I cannot believe I just went first overall. And he was speechless. As were a lot of people in the NBA because they can't believe Orlando took him.
I will say, we had Bobby Regan on before the season started, and he said Banchero would go number 1 prior to Duke's first game.
Right. Well, what did they end up with? I mean, did they have 5 first-round picks or 4 firsts and a second? The kid who went 42 to the Knicks or something like that.
I think they had 4 first-round picks.
But I think they had their whole starting 5 there.
Pretty much.
I think all went first round and early second, which also, tipped the cap to Carolina.
Absolutely.
Beat them the last 2 times they played them. It's not like it was a team that lacked talent. So, Coach K wasn't there, by the way. Neither was John Cal. I didn't see him. Now, maybe he was there late. Ty Washington got taken at the very end of the first round. But John Cal, the kid who committed to Kentucky but never played, and he went like 8th overall, and Calipari was not there. He's not claiming him.
How long can it be before people like Duke? I mean, because Duke's arch enemy number one in college basketball. They really are. They wear the black hat. You have an opinion. I get that there are Duke fans out there, but most of us, Coach K wore us out. Can Duke be likable again, and how long is that going to take?
He's already come out and said he will not attend a game this year.
Well, that's a start.
Kind of like you're giving, John his room. Good luck. Watch from afar. So, I think it's going to take a little while. Let's face it, college sports, what do? We root for the front of the jerseys.
Yes, but the front of the jersey was the coach. In Duke's case, I mean, it's a combination of the coach, the Cameron Crazies, and Cherokee Parks. I mean, I don't know which one bothered you the most.
I mean, it
might have
wasn't
just been a me thing.
It was interesting because Duke, when Krzyzewski started it, finals of 86, Final Fours, 88, 89, lost in the championship game in 90. Duke was the likable team.
Bingo.
They were the team, hey, we want this coach to finally get the title. When they knocked off UNLV, unbeaten Rebels in 91, the country cheered.
Yes.
Roared, in fact. And then they beat Kansas for the title, and everybody was like, all right, way to go. But by the very next year in 92, and Leitner a senior, and I think it was in 92 where it turned. And all of a sudden, Christian Leitner, people weren't rooting for him. And then they stopped rooting for them. Then they played the Fab Five in the championship game, and America loved the Fab Five.
So I'm just curious if Duke can be likable again. I think they can.
I think
by the end of the decade.
I think it'll take a little bit. Although I'll tell you what, a lot of people who don't normally root for North Carolina were rooting for them at the end of the year against Duke. I mean, in a way, Duke made Carolina likable again.
Think about that.
Miller and Moulton.
Game 5 tonight. Tampa Bay tries to stay alive against Colorado. This will be the 38th time, 3-1 in the Stanley Cup Finals. 20 times it ended in Game 5. 17 times it's been extended. Only once has a team that was down 3-1 won the series, and that goes back 80 years when Toronto did it to Detroit. In fact, they came back from 3-0 in that series. It's the only time it has ever been done in the history of the Stanley Cup Final.
Denver, the site, the ice will be much better than it was because of the heat in Tampa. That probably favors the Avs. Avs outscored the Lightning 6-1 in the 2 first periods that have already been played in Denver, games 1 and 2. I will say the Lightning have figured out Denver's forecheck. They're still turning it over. Denver can still pen them in, but I mean, they did a much better job at home getting out of the zone and getting up the ice than they did in games 1 and 2. We'll see if it continues. Can they just get out of the first period?
Telling you, 1-1, 0-0. You get that tied at the end of the first period, I think that's a win for Tampa.
I know the fans won't say this publicly. I might even sign up if I'm rooting for the Lightning tonight, which I will be. At 1-0 Avs after 1, I think I might take it. Just get me into the second period.
Without being down 2.
And once again, they can't lose special teams. They lost it again in Game 4. Need to break even or, God forbid, win on the power play tonight. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Somebody says we're getting valuable life lessons here. Drive-through protocols. Absolutely. Well, RCB, I am with you in that, like I didn't like the call 1 minute into game 2 on McDonough, the roughing into the boards. I thought in a playoff game, I'm like, that there's nothing wrong with that hit. Never mind a cup final. I didn't like that at all. And of course they scored on the power play. Oh, he did a 4-leg parlay with $150. Got it. Wow, Warriors to win the NBA title. And Avs to win the cup. Good for him.
Oh, Tim, I drink a little of the beers. If I'm going to get 2 beers, if I'm going to eat, and I'm never carrying them in those containers because you're setting up for spillage. I'm grabbing beers, taking a sip out of each. Even if I'm bringing a beer instead of trying to spill it all over people, because you are so right.
Well, I think you have to declare which beer is yours. You take the sip out of that one, then you just pour the others into your beer.
Fair enough.
But yes. Burger King and Taco Bell. The first stop, no, I did not park for the first stop. The first stop was eating while driving. and second stop parked in a nearby bank parking lot only so that because it had a big garbage can and I could then, when I was done, throw away all the evidence. DC, that is a good question. In fact, I may steal it right now. So what's the chain that he had on, Felipe? What was the chain he had around his neck? You listen to me? What's the chain that Paolo had around?
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour, Miller and Moulton on this final Friday of June, just like that. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks for ending the week with us here on this Friday, 64 days away from, well, the first football game. Nebraska, Northwestern, in Ireland, 9 weeks tomorrow. 10 weeks yesterday, college football season will really kick off, officially week 1. Pitt, West Virginia, the highlight on September 1st. So less than 10 weeks away for that. And less than 11 weeks away, 76 days away from Bills at Rams to kick off the 2022 NFL season.
You know, sometimes in these chat rooms, some funny things are said.
Okay.
And you made a comment during the last segment when getting all your food and a terrible song comes on, like, Come On, Eileen, which we did get someone texting saying, Come On, Eileen's my favorite, and I'm 30. And someone in the Facebook chat said, please come back from break playing Come On, Eileen.
Well, Felipe'd have to be paying attention to the show for that to happen.
And we don't for a lot of reasons,
on.
but mainly if we were to play commercial music, which we can play over any of the radio stations that we're on, when you start doing that on YouTube and Twitch where we stream the show,
We get dumped.
you get dumped. So
Right.
you can't. So you got to play all this fake music. All of the music that we have is created for us.
And yeah, and that's why Felipe reacted the way he did, because he knows he's, not allowed to play the Come On Eileen's and the recorded music, so to speak. So, no, he's paying attention, kind of, sort of. It's the last hour. Mind's wandering right now. He's got weekend plans. Got to nail him down. You staying in town this weekend, or you driving across the alley?
No, I'm staying.
All right. Good to know. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Poll question, by the way. If you're taking a drive across the alley and you got people in the car, who's in charge of the entertainment, driver or shotgun?
And 4 or 5 of you say the driver is.
Mark's big into the shotgun.
I allow shotgun to run the controls. They got to do something.
But driver can have veto power?
Driver always has veto power.
Gotcha. Not in control, but can raise their hand and go, yeah, get that off. I hate that song. Fair enough. We mentioned this in joking, and we've done so earlier in the week, and we did so in our first hour of the show, but honestly, I'm not joking right now. You're the Yankees, and you're scheduled to go to arbitration today against Aaron Judge, because Judge has been playing this year, and a lot of players have had to do this because of the way the offseason went and the threat of a strike and all that, they didn't have time to go to arbitration and work out what guys are getting paid. So Judge is playing this year, but he doesn't know what he's playing for. He knows it's either going to be $17 million, which is what the Yanks offered, and he's asking for 21. And it's not based on anything you've done this year. Arbitration is all about what you did prior to this season. So the fact that right now he'd win the American League MVP doesn't count, in theory. But arbitration's usually not a good process, Mark. I mean, it's, you and I have had negotiations with management before. It's never been a good process for either one of us.
Well, the only thing that I've had, that I would say is close to this is that when I went through a divorce was mediation. And that to me is a lot. And I know it's different, but it's similar where you're sitting in a room and the two sides are complaining.
Right. That's why we're divorcing.
Over what someone gets. And it's never fun. And nice things are not said. Now,
right.
That's the part of this that I find fascinating, is that the Yankees are going to make their case as to why Aaron Judge should only be making $17 million.
And it's really going to hang on one thing. He's not durable. He doesn't play a ton of games on a regular basis. I mean, I think he's played over 130, once?
Well, and part of the reason right now everything's going so well is they're kind of rotating 5 guys into 4 spots between the outfield and the DH.
Right.
And they're just kind of giving guys a day off here and there. And they're all buying in.
And knock on wood, Stanton and Judge. I mean, Stanton, went on the 10-day IL once? That's it. Minor strain, was back and has played well. And they're both playing in the field and have stayed healthy. Part of why they're destroying people right now. But the problem is you run the risk of alienating him, of irritating him, even in the smallest way. Now, I don't think Judge is going to be at the hearing, but his people are obviously going to be at it. And at some point, Judge is going to go, hey, how'd it go? They're going to went, well, and it's going to be like, so what's their reasoning? What'd they say? Why is it I'm not worth the extra $4 million? Well, basically, you
get hurt too much.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be anything but that. It's going to be an availability issue.
Right. But here's the other thing. Don't you, if you're the Yankees right now, you offered him $230 million. You offered him $30.5 million a year, and then you offered him the $17 million for this year. And I think they offered it in a 7-year deal. So that's why it was like 213.5 for the future and 17 for now. They offered him $230 million. And he went, no, I'm good. I'll play it out. So, if you're the Yankees, if you're already offering 230, what's $4 million extra?
Well, but that's great. And I get what you're saying. Now, let me be the Yankees for just a second, because you've done this whole thing from how the Yankees should feel about Judge. And I think by and large, you're right, because they are trying to re-sign him. You have to remember that the guy they're arbitrating with did turn down the $230 million.
Yes,
they offered him $230 million, and he said no. So
right,
that is the other side of this. Everybody is under the assumption that they should just give Aaron Judge the $21 million because, well, he deserves it. And they may be right. But if Aaron Judge was on the IL right now, and it was a normal year where he'd already been hurt once, he's not playing every day, and he's having a phenomenal season, by the way. If this was just his average numbers, I don't know where we'd be right now. Remember, they offered him $230, and he turned it down.
Right.
The Yankee brass is probably not all that pleased that he turned that down.
Well, obviously they're not, but part of the reason that it's a small part, but part of the reason that he may have turned it down is he's like, well, I ain't playing this year for 17. At the very least, it's like, well, you got to up this year to 21. Got to make that 230.5 million, 234.5. Then we can debate what I'm going to make for the next 7 years, whether or not 30.5 is enough.
All valid points, and I'm on your side. I am just merely pointing out that if you're the Yankees, they were told no for $230 million.
Oh, I know. And unfortunately, and they walked away. They said, oh, well, Couldn't get a deal done. We'll just sit back. We'll play this out. And Judge went, yeah, I'm fine with that. and here we are.
And at this very moment, he's playing it out very well.
All right. And I know Judge had said no negotiations during the season. We got this thing called the All-Star break coming up. And
he's busy.
Well, he's not doing home run derby, though. I think he's already said that. So, yeah, he's going to play in the game. But
no offense, by the way, what's the point of a home run derby if Aaron Judge is not in the home run derby?
Listen, I'm not kidding. If I would try to, if I'm Major League Baseball, NBA's got this problem. The guys don't want to play in the All-Star game anymore. I mean, they really
want to
don't.
Go to All-Star weekend. They just don't want to play in the game.
Oh, totally. And they want it to be in Vegas. Right. They want the party and they want the time off because they've also negotiated they get time off on the back end. It's not like it used to be where the game was on Sunday and the season resumed on Tuesday. That doesn't happen anymore. So I'd almost, if I'm Major League Baseball, try to get it my next CBA. It's kind of like, yeah, the players don't have a vote when it concerns the All-Star game, by the way. All right. We pick you. It's an honor, by the way. We'll pay you.
Well, now we'll
pay you. We'll pay you. And here's what we'll pay you. We'll make it worth your time. You're going to miss out on 2-3 days with your family.
Hey,
I get it.
And throw some real money at
winning
the home run derby.
No. Well, there you go.
No. I mean, you're going to get an appearance fee. This is the Live Tour. You're going to get an appearance fee for showing up for the home run derby, and someone's getting paid. I mean, in all seriousness, David, if you put $5 million for the home run derby champ.
Well, it's funny you say that.
I could sell that as a league. I could sell that. A Rocket Mortgage. Someone's going to jump at that.
Well, how about this? Everybody gets $250,000 for being in it. 8. So that's $2 million. And then you take the other $3 million and you do what? $2 million for the winner, $1 million for runner up.
Oh, see, I'd be a winner take all.
Oh, okay.
I'd be a winner take all. I would want to put something on this. I'd give them $500,000 for showing up, and I'd give $5 million to the winner.
Well, that's $9 million now you spent on the home run derby. All right, I'm just saying we went from 5 to 9.
You went. I was already. I had my own numbers. I had an idea what I had $5 million for the winner all along.
So now
I think fans. And sorry, I just think fans would then get into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we're back to All-Star break. If you're the Yankees, don't you call them up on the Sunday before the All-Star break and you go, listen, let's take one more crack at this. All right. And hey, I'm negotiating in a much weaker position than I was 3 months ago because your guy's killing it. So if you're the Yankees, what do you do? 35 times 7? That's what?
245.
245. I'll tell you what, I'll round it up just for the heck of it. Let's do 250. 7 for 250. Your first 3 months have just made you $36.5 million over 7 years. 30.5 basically became 35.5.
I think Judge would sign it, especially after he wins this arbitration and gets his $21 million today.
Right. And if you're the Yankees, what's $5 million a year? Honestly, I mean, come on,
it's nothing.
I mean, you're charging $15 for Heineken's, for goodness sake.
Well, and at some point, they're going to figure out how to make more money off of streaming in the next 5 years. There's going to be more money.
They own their own network.
Right,
yes.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, honestly, what's an extra $5 million a year? So we were talking about what's it going to take to sign Ohtani. And if you're Ohtani, you're sitting back. You want to see how much Judge is going to get. And while you're not Judge at the plate, remember, you're a hitter and you're a pitcher. So if Judge ends up making 35, 37, 38, you could go, well, okay, I'll make 30. Now let's talk what I'm worth as a pitcher.
Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Let's do the Scottish Open live thing. We haven't done that today.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a... God, I should have saved this.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, final hour of the week for us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Listen, I know there's a couple of things that we want to get to here for Good, Bad, and Ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when all that. Mentioned Ohtani briefly as we were heading to break. Saw this yesterday. Because in back-to-back days earlier this week, he had an 8 RBI game.
Right.
And then the next
big
day,
shutout game.
13 strikeouts.
Right.
Players who never drove in 8 runs in a game. Babe Ruth, Henry Aaron, Barry Bonds, David Ortiz, Albert Pujols, Chipper Jones, George Brett, Stan Musial, Mike Trout. I mean, besides obviously thousands of others, but just some big names.
Just a couple of names
who
for
never
you?
drove in 8 RBIs in a game. Then the next night, he struck out 13. Pitchers who never struck out there. Now, granted, they strike out more now. They do. Hitters, the approach, and all that. But just some pitchers who never struck out 13 in a game. Babe Ruth, Lefty Grove, Don Sutton, Tom Glavine. He did that, I believe, on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, right?
I was having the discussion yesterday. Did the same thing with him as you and I do. Okay. What are you going to pay him as a hitter?
We're not being jerks. He is going to sit down and look across at the Angels, and if they can't sign him at the end of next year, he's going to look at everybody else and go, so what are we talking here?
Well, and as you've said, and he said as well, we can't pay him more than Trout.
Really?
And that's my answer every time. I just answer back with, is Trout pitching? You put him on the bump every 5th day? Because I don't think you are.
I mean, Anthony Rendon, you paid him $35 million a year, even if he was healthy. You know, I'm pretty much the hitter he is. So now, and you paid Noah Syndergaard $21 million a year to pitch for 2 years. He had thrown 2 innings in the last 2 seasons. And even at Noah's peak, I'm pretty much what he is. So if you add Rendon and Syndergaard together, that's 56. I'll sign for 56. Tell you what, I'll even give you a 10% discount. I'll sign for 50 and change. What do you say?
I'm telling you, he's going to get 50 a year.
Not only that, he's going to be 29 years old when he hits free agency, and people will pay to watch him, whether at home or at the stadium.
And they've already had that in LA theoretically. So I could see where I could see a lot of teams wanting to jump on this.
Well, and also think about some of the contracts that'll come off the books. I mean, listen, if the Yankees were to lose an Aaron Judge,
right?
I mean,
what
come on.
Wouldn't they pay for a lefty stick that pitches
right
every 5th day? Oh my goodness.
Never mind the attendance bump. Even the Yankees would get an attendance bump. Believe me. In fact, they'd probably sell, the one place they don't sell seats for because they're so expensive is behind home plate and in between first and third base. I'll bet you those at least 15 times a year. I'll bet you those tickets get sold when he's pitching at home. But there you go. Just some of the things he did this week that a few people you may have heard of never did once.
And a little bit of a blow to the Live Tour has come, thought it was last night, in which the European Tour has banned golfers from 3 of their upcoming events: the Scottish Open, the Barbasol Championship, and the Barracuda Championship.
Now, there's a reason, though. The DP World Tour, which used to be just simply called the European Tour, they're in bed with the PGA on those 3 events. I don't know if it's a marketing thing, whatever it is, but they're officially, those essentially are joint events. Well, obviously the PGA Tour is not going to let any golfer associated with the LIV series be a part of anything that they have their name on. Which is why, and we're both curious, what's going to happen with the QBE shootout?
It's the thing I'm most I have been, just because of where we live. I mean, Greg Norman's the host.
Right.
It's
But
not his company anymore.
Not anymore, right, that runs the event, but he is the tournament host. But here's the other thing. I mean, I believe the winning team from a year ago was Jason Kokrak and Kevin Na. Well, Kevin Na's on the LIV series, and Kokrak's rumored to be he played the U.S. Open with a Saudi golf bag. Now, he's yet to commit to the LIV series for whatever reason, but there are many people in the game that think he's going to be. And what I'm wondering is, are they because that tournament, which for the longest time the tour said, nah, we're not going to put you in our, but it's listed. If you were to go to PGAtour.com and look
Right.
for its events, even though it's not a tournament that you win and you get points for you, but it's listed on PGAtour.com. And I can't imagine they're going to allow, and not only that, think of the golfers that have played at Tiburon over the years, Mark. You know, we've seen Westwood, we've seen Poulter, we've seen about a half a dozen guys. Plus, I was thinking, Mark, you know, Mickelson's, if he played in it, it was 25 plus years ago when it was in California.
Right.
I don't believe he's played in it once since it's been in Florida. Well, I was thinking, oh, wow, Phil, you know, DJ's played in it before. That, you know, some of these guys, they're in bed with Greg.
Right.
That they would actually do Greg a solid and play in this. And we don't know if they're even allowed to.
I am all in on whatever's going to happen with this, because one of two things happens. Either it's filled with live tour guys, or they're going to tell Norman he can't show up at the tournament he hosts.
Well, right. And is the PGA Tour going to put pressure on the PGA Tour guys and go, I know it's a cash grab. It's a big cash grab. But we don't want you to have anything to do with Greg Norman on the grounds. I mean, I'm curious how this plays out. They've made a lot of friends. You know, that's a very well-run event. They've made a lot of connections over the years. You know, I mean, Rick, I'll bet you Ricky Fowler would play. He needs the cash.
Right.
He ain't earning any on a weekly basis anymore. But normally they fill up their field based on, not all of it, but a good chunk of their field. They do it based on like FedEx Cup points. All these LIV guys have been, they're out.
They're gone.
I mean, I don't think we've ever had a case, unless because of injury, that the defending champions were not invited back. Well,
they're not invited back this year.
Well,
one of them isn't.
We don't think so.
For now, and it's going to be both of them sooner than later, we think.
So I know it's a quote-unquote silly season event, what have you. And, you know, most people down here, they go for the golf, and now the Saturday concert series is a huge hit and all that. And, you know, we'll be happy with whoever's there. I mean, you know, it'll be top 50 players.
It's always
in the world.
a great field.
Right. I mean, we'll be thrilled. It'll be fine. But it'll just be a different makeup of people this year. And we're not sure which way it's going to be made up. We don't know if the PGA Tour is going to put pressure on guys not to go, and Greg's going to have to pick up the phone and call some of his LIV friends and go, hey, I need you in Naples second week of December.
Because the tournament on the PGA Tour site is this tournament's already happened for this season. The PGA Tour season starts in September now.
Now they're changing that, though. That's one of the things that's come about. They're getting rid of the whole season starting in October thing. The top players hate it because they don't play in any of the events.
Well, that in and of itself could be the end of the QBE shootout when they give a new season. So just something that we're watching here locally that we've been paying attention to, that we haven't been able to get the answers that we're looking for yet.
And we haven't really tried, but we're just curious. And let's face it, you know, this war is going to continue for a couple of years. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts. All coming up next here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit, featuring band attachments to your feet and hips. Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
She's pretty too. That's not the one I was referring to. Oh, yeah, that you got it. That is, yeah, there's two of them that were hot. Yeah. There you go. Eve was mad at me because the whole time they're showing this kid, I'm just sitting there going, I hate him. Should have played at Duke. Then he started talking. I'm like, I hate him more. She was sitting so mad at me. It was pretty funny. All right. I don't know how we're going to do a promo for Monday.
Yeah.
Because it starts Monday, David. The 5 weeks of, we talk tight ends.
8-9 weeks. Right. We'll break down wide receiving cores. Wimbledon gets underway Monday.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of any show this week, go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download our podcasts. We are appreciative of that when you do. You ready?
I am.
You said today's a big birthday day.
It is a big bird. Well, I mean, a lot of them. Some fun ones.
Okay. Well, get to it then.
Don't waste any time. Is what you're telling me?
No.
Get right after it.
Yeah.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1853 we start. Franklin Pierce, who was our 14th president, in case you wondered who that was. I'm sure you had that, Felipe. Signs the Gadsden Purchase, buying about 30,000 square miles from Mexico for 10 schmil. It's New Mexico and southern Arizona.
Good deal.
It really was. 1880, the first performance of O Canada, the song that would become the national anthem of Canada, was performed.
1880?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a hockey game? I'm sorry.
Canadians, Nordiques. In 1901, Picasso's first exhibition opens in Paris. Today in 1922, the NFL club, the Chicago Staleys, is renamed the Bears by its founder, owner, and head coach, George Halas, and the American Professional Football Association is renamed the National Football League. 1928, Johnny Farrell defeats Bobby Jones for the U.S. Open. Jackie Robinson steals home for the first of his career 19 times. We need more players stealing home.
No doubt.
1955, Harmon Killebrew hits his first home run. 1979, Ricky Henderson steals his first base. In 83, Don Sutton becomes the 8th to strike out 3,000. In 92, Shaq's the first pick of the Magic. In 95, the Devils stomp the Wings 5-2 for a 4-0 series sweep. That damn left-wing lock. 97, Randy Johnson strikes out 19. He didn't strike out McGuire, who hit a 538-foot home run off of Randy Johnson. 19 Ks and gave up one bomb. 2004, Dwight Howard, first pick of the Magic. You remember this one, David. In 2010, it was the longest match in tennis history. The Isner-Mahut match. 11 hours, 5 minutes, over 3 days.
That's what made them change the fifth set now. You play to 12, and then you play a tiebreaker.
2013, the Blackhawks beat the Bruins in 6 for the Blackhawks' 5th championship. 6 years ago, Austin Matthews was the first pick of the Leafs, and it was a year ago, David, that the Surfside condo collapsed in Miami.
Yesterday, I think they announced, what, a $1.2 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those born today that are no longer with us, Jack Dempsey, Al Molinaro. You know him from Happy A's. He just went by Al. Billy Casper, Terry Donahue, and reliever Doug Jones. Those that are still with us, Jeff Beck is 78. Mick Fleetwood is 75. T.C. Chen is 64.
Had the 85 U.S. Open, had a big lead, double hit a chip.
He T.C. Chen'd it.
He
I mean,
did.
we all, anytime you double hit a ball, oh, he did a T.C. Chen.
And it allowed Andy North, who was like 4 back, to get back in it, and Andy ended up winning by 1.
Julie Inkster is 62. Hockey player Bernie Nichols is 61. Uwe Krupp, who scored the game winner for the Colorado Avalanche when they defeated the Florida Panthers, is 57 today. J.J. Redick is 38. And Messi is 35 years old. And that is today was the day when. Did I forget anything, David?
It was 25 years ago that the Air Force released a 230-page report about aliens in Roswell, New Mexico. They dismissed the long-standing claims. Clinton was just talking about this, former President Bill Clinton, on an interview last week on the Late Late Show, in which he said, hey, man, I sent people to investigate aliens. So, Felipe, what do you got? Anything?
I got nothing, but there's definitely aliens.
You're a yes on that?
I mean, we're too small in the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I mean, so I'm not bad-mouthing anybody who says yes or no. I mean, it's your opinion. It's like, do you believe in conspiracy theories? Yeah. Not all of them, but yeah, absolutely.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
These aren't bad. This has been the hardest week to find good, bad, and ugly stories that I've ever remembered since we started doing this.
Wow.
We go to Gloucester, across the pond, where two guys are canoeing. It's a bachelor party. One guy falls in the water, lost his phone. 10 months later, another canoer found the phone in the water, picked it up, and went through all of the trouble of finding who it was after charging it, putting photos up on Facebook to give this man his long-lost photos. What a wonderful story. For the bad, we come back to Florida, where we have found the first ever Hercules beetle in the state of Florida, about the size of your hand. Now, apparently, it's not going to hurt you. But if a beetle the size of my hand is in my house, it's going to scare the bejeebers out of me. We don't need more bugs in Florida, David. We certainly don't need one called a Hercules beetle. Finally, the ugly, we go to Japan, where a private contractor was doing work for the computers in a Japanese city. Then he went out drinking. And apparently, he lost a USB disk or a USB stick that contained the personal data of 500,000 residents. They haven't named who it was yet, but 460,000 residents have lost all their personal information because of a flash drive that the guy lost drinking. If you stole the flash drive, please return it. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 24th, 2022.
Game 5 in the battle for Lord Stanley's Cup. It could end tonight in Denver. Avs up 3-1 on the Lightning. I say Avs get it done.
I agree. I actually think it's going to be like 4-1 tonight.
Lightning have, in their 3 losses, scored a total of 5 goals, 3-0 and 2. And they are very banged up, and they're very banged up the middle. Don't know. They need to score on the power play tonight desperately.
It would be nice, even if they don't score, to maybe have an attack on the power play that puts some pressure on Colorado. Power play's been terrible.
Colorado's been great in the first period, in the first 2 games at home, outscoring Tampa 6-1. Can the Lightning get to period 2 and be in decent shape? They have not been in good shape in either of the first 2 games that were played in Denver. A full slate tonight, as you would expect in Major League Baseball, 15 games in all. Marlins host the Mets beginning at 6:40. Scherzer, they think, is going to pitch Sunday. Remember, he came out and said, I don't want to be a rumble pony, which is the Binghamton AA affiliate's name. And that's where he made his rehab start on, I think it was Tuesday.
Would you rather be a rumble pony or a show pony?
I think I'd rather be a rumble pony.
I think I would too.
Although he's making $43 million a year. If they say you need to be a rumble pony for one more game, do it. But Scherzer may pitch Sunday against the Marlins. Marlins minus 145 tonight. They got Alcantara pitching. His ERA is 1.72. Astros in the Bronx to face the Yankees once again. Rays are home for the Pirates. They need to get healthy.
Pirates are a good team to have at home for a weekend. Be nice to see the Rays string together a little streak here.
Rays are minus 210 tonight. They're sending Jeffrey Springs to the hill. His ERA is an even 2.00. But got good series going on elsewhere. You know, Guardians and Twins are tied. Dodgers are a game ahead of the Padres. Dodgers are in Atlanta to take on the Braves. Freddie Freeman's return to Atlanta. So that is interesting. Cubs and Cards are playing each other. They're on Apple TV tonight. And that's one of the better rivalries in the sport. So you got that going on.
There you have it.
And the College World Series begins tomorrow. Off day today, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. Saturday, Sunday, and if necessary, Monday.
Didn't they for a while change that where you played through your brackets and then it was just they tried to have the one game final and you were having two teams. You could have a team that had a record with one loss and an undefeated team play for that. I thought they did that for a couple of years and finally fixed that.
Well, back in the day, they did it when the final used to be on CBS.
Right.
But in recent years, they've had it a best of three, but they usually were able to get it where it was a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They kind of like had the days to themselves. You know, so I know there's not a ton going on this weekend, but I don't think it will help them from a TV audience standpoint being on a Saturday, Sunday, because I think both games will be in the afternoon.
But if they get to a Monday in a game 3,
yeah,
could get a few eyeballs on it.
And that's pretty much what's going on. NBA free agency is a week away. Wednesday's a big day next week where Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, and a few others with player options need to decide whether or not they're going to exercise them. The Kyrie one's getting interesting. Apparently him and the Nets are at an impasse and nobody expects him to resolve it. So is Kyrie going to blink? Or is Kyrie going to say, no, I'm going to become a free agent and basically I'm going to force you guys to make a sign and trade?
I would vote for that, by the way.
If you're the Nets, you're ready to move on. I mean, remember a year ago.
I think they're both going to move on.
I mean, think about it a year ago. You had Durant, Harden, and Kyrie a year ago today. And are you prepared as an organization to a year later have Durant and Ben Simmons and then whatever else you're acquiring? Kyrie apparently has got a list of, I think it's 7 teams. By the way, Felipe, yours is on it. That he's like, listen, you could trade me to the 2 LA teams. You could trade me to the Knicks. You could trade me to the Mavs. And you could trade me to the Heat.
You know, I don't think that means anything. He's not coming to the Heat. I can tell you that. I'm 99.999%.
I know, but you wanted them to go get him.
Of course.
Okay.
But he's not. He's not.
Well, not necessarily for this reason. You know, they've got Kyle Lowry as a trade chip, and he's making like 30. And so whatever Kyrie signs for, say it's high 30s, low 40s. I mean, and he's only got 1 year left on a deal. I mean, if you were to, then Brooklyn might take a year of Kyle Lowry. Never mind what else they may get. Would you make this deal right now? Lowry and Hero for Kyrie.
Exactly where I was going.
I'd make that deal.
Well, I think the Nets would make it too. I really do. Because then they'd move on from Lowry and they'd have $30 million to play with.
Yeah, I'd make that deal.
And you know who becomes a free agent after the 23 season? LeBron.
Stop. Don't.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean,
don't give me that hope.
Well, no, I'm not talking for Miami. I meant for Brooklyn.
For Brooklyn.
What? At Brooklyn, you don't think? I mean, he's going to want to go somewhere where he can win. He'll be almost 40. I mean, he's not going to go to a situation that's not great.
Cleveland?
Well, Cleveland's a little, and besides, Cleveland might be great in a year.
They might be great this year.
I don't know about great, but that could be very good this year.
I think they did well in the draft.
I do too. And I think Detroit did great in the draft.
But, I was looking at a stat of just first-year players. I mean, good players, Hardens of the world, and what they scored in the first year. So I think you're a year ahead of yourself with the Cleveland, even with the draft and all that, because the first year for these guys, it's much like what it used to be for NFL wide receivers. It takes these guys a year to figure the league out. They're all going into the league younger. So I think you have to look at draft classes 2 out, not that year, from a standpoint of what you're getting.
You know how I feel about the Cavs.
Here's another thing. And if you're the Heat, here's what you do. Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and Hero, because you get his money off the books too. For Kyrie and whatever. I'm telling you, they could get this deal done.
How about Kyrie and Joe Harris?
I don't think they'd give up Joe Harris, but you know what I mean? I mean, it's doable. Now, we can debate whether or not Kyrie and the Heat culture works, because the other thing is it's going to be a 5-year sign and trade. I mean, this ain't a 1 or 2 year deal. You're married to him. Married.
I'm not trying to be biased, but I think it would be the best thing that would happen in his career.
Well, maybe for him. I'm not sure it'd be the greatest thing for the Heat. I think Pat Riley would strangle Kyrie Irving. I really do.
I just don't think they ever get to that point, because I'm with you. I'm with both. You think it would work. I don't think Riley would want that type of player. I don't think Riley wants the headaches of it.
I'll make you a guarantee. If it happens, they sign Udonis Haslem to a 5-year deal, because Udonis is going to have to be right next to him the whole time, threatening him the whole way. Have a great weekend.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results